The Cardinals have found themselves looking to Albert Pujols and Scott Rolen for power and grace on the diamond. But so far this season, St. Louis has lived and died by the long ball. And tonight, they fly into the home of an Astros club thinking World Series. Coming off a series sweep for the Cardinals, Houston looks to increase its lead in the Central. Now returning home, their potent lineup is eager to do more damage. Tonight, they face off again. Cardinals-Astros next. From Houston, Texas, it's ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One. Tonight, we'll see the top two run-scoring teams in the big leagues, the Astros and the Cardinals. Plenty of runs could be scored in this three-game series. Welcome to Minute Maid Park, everybody. Great to have you along. I'm Dave O'Brien. Last night, St. Louis won the thing 5-3, game one of this series, and that was a pitcher's duel until the sixth inning when the reigning National League batting champ Albert Pujols said, enough of that. On a 1-2 pitch from Wade Miller, he sends this screamer into the Crawford boxes down the left field line. It's only .315. That's a chip shot for Albert, the man who hit 43 home runs last season for St. Louis. Jeff Brantley joining me, and they hit a ton of home runs, the Cardinals do, JB, but they also give up a lot. In fact, more than any other team in the big leagues. That does not seem to be spelling success.
Well, it's not ever going to spell success. You've got to be able to keep the other team lower than what you're scoring. And if you're giving up that many home runs, in my mind, that means you're not pitching inside enough. That means hitters are too comfortable, and if you let hitters get comfortable, they're going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Get the ball inside. That's the only way that you can keep hitters off balance and keep them where they're not diving out over the plate.
You know, over the last 14 years here in the city of Houston, two men have been synonymous with Astros baseball, Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. They've never won a playoff series. Now, you've got Roger Clemens throwing lights out. He's 3-0 now for the Astros, coming out of retirement. It would seem to be the last best chance for those two guns to finally go to a World Series.
Well, for Biggio and Bagwell, that could work both two different ways. You could either try too hard and try to make it where you put so much pressure on yourself that you know you want to get to the playoffs, or you can do what they're doing. They're making adjustments in their swings. They're trying to do everything that they can to make sure that they lead this ball club offensively, and they're doing a great job at it. Once you add Clemens and you add Pettit to a Biggio and Bagwell, that spells success.
A lot of terrific veteran guys, but they feel this is their year, and this might be the ballpark to do it, because with that combination of hitting along with Hidalgo and Berkman, and you know that Albert Pujols loves to swing the bat here. Everybody does. The Cardinals in town with all their lumber. The Astros will counter at Minute Maid Park when we come back.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Bank One. Bank One, where you get individual answers. Find the credit card that fits you best. And in part by DirecTV. Movies, music, and exclusive sports from the leader in digital satellite entertainment.
Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN. The roof is open here at Minute Maid Park. The wind is also blowing out to dead center. Oh, Nelly, to coin a phrase, because it may be flying out of here as we look at the St. Louis Cardinals starting lineup. Marlon Anderson leads it off with Ray Lankford. He's back in a Cardinal uniform. He's in left. Albert Pujols, a sensational hitter, 124 RBIs last year. Jim Edmonds in center. Scott Rolen's off to a sizzling start. Edgar Renteria, the Gold Glover, at short. Reggie Sanders has a new team. He's in right field. Mike Matheny, another Gold Glover behind the plate. Matt Morris, the pitcher, batting ninth. And up against the right-hander Tim Redding. JB, he's 0-2 with a 6.23 ERA.
I don't care what his stats are right now. I still like this kid on the mound. He's pitching in the number 5 spot. And I still believe he's got the best stuff on this staff. He's got a great fastball. The one thing that he needs to learn is to sit when he's in the dugout and he sees Clemens and Pettit on the mound, or even Roy Oswalt for that matter. Watch what they're doing and learn. And once he gets his experience, he's going to be a much better pitcher, and you're going to see some success from this kid.
So one thing he just looked around and took a look at was those flags in center. And he knows that they're blowing out a little bit. There's been a threat of rain all day. It hasn't rained a single drop. So they've kept the roof open. And we're set to go. Pitch number 1 on the way from the righty Redding. And it's in there for strike.
When you watch Redding, you're going to see him anywhere from 93 to 96. He's very smooth. The big thing for him today is he needs to keep the ball down and throw a lot of strikes.
Kept that one down and on the inside corner for a strike, although Anderson didn't think so. And he's quickly in the hole, 0-2. One of the many new faces on the St. Louis team. They had 13 new faces on their roster at the end of spring training. So Tony La Russa had a lot of those little name cards made up and put on uniforms through Grapefruit League play. That one lays foul off to the left by Anderson.
If you watch Marlon Anderson, not only does he play second base, but every once in a while, Tony will play him out in left field. He uses him very similar to what he used Eli Marrero when he was here, now playing for the Atlanta Braves.
Redding looking for the strikeout. Got him leaning, but not swinging, and that's outside.
You see Redding fall off to the first base side on that backdoor breaking ball. You've got to stay through that ball all the way if you're going to get it to break back to the outside corner.
Ray Lankford up next. And then the amazing Pujols. Cut on and missed. He strikes him out. A quick start for Redding. One down, and now let's look around the outfield and the infield. The defensive thing for the Houston Astros. And here's how they line up behind Redding.
Well, the guy that I love to watch play in that infield is Adam Everett, a guy that's a young player hitting in between Biggio and Bagwell, which I can't imagine a place that you wouldn't want to be hitting, and plays the infield, plays the shortstop position as well as anybody around. Love to watch him play and love his energy, and I think that translates into successful baseball for these Astros.
Here's Ray Lankford hitting .409. He went after the very first pitch and fouled it back for strike one. It's interesting the circumstances under which he originally left the St. Louis Cardinals a couple of years ago when he was traded to the San Diego Padres. And he left in a season that was very difficult for him. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of bad at-bats, but also the trade clouded in controversy. Finally accepted the trade when they got Woody Williams August 2nd, 2001. But Ray said, really pointing at Tony La Russa, they had a contentious relationship. He said, the guy who is the manager hasn't talked to me since June. I feel like I'm punished, like I'm grounded. I'm a grown man. This ain't Little League. And regardless of what a guy is doing, you've still got to respect people like they're human beings and like they're a man. And it got pretty nasty there between them.
Well, I think there was a lot of emotion with the death of his brother being shot. I think there was a lot of things going through Ray's mind at that time that didn't really concern baseball. And that's the part of the game that the outside fan really doesn't realize. They only see what we do on the field. But anytime that you have a loss of a family member, that's devastating in itself, and it creates problems for you on the baseball field. It takes away from your concentration. It makes you think about life a little bit different, and you know there's a lot of anger there that has to be dealt with, whether you're mourning or whatever it is. And I think a lot of that really took away from the talent of Ray Lankford, and I'm just glad to see him back playing.
Well, his brother Percival was shot to death July 15th, 2000. He was just 19 years old. While visiting a friend, he was shot and killed in Los Angeles. He had no criminal history, not a member of any kind of gang or anything like that. Somebody just walked up and shot him. Ray then leaving the team to be with his mother, so indeed devastated by that, the murder of his brother. Just a 19-year-old kid. 3-2 pitch fouled back to the net. But even before that, there was some discussion about Ray Lankford getting a little too comfortable with a big contract that he had signed. In fact, Tony La Russa said, right in the middle of a 5-year, $32.5 million contract, he said, Ray Lankford's not the first guy who's gotten some money for some years and lost an edge. He's very happy to have him back, and the circumstances of the relationship have certainly changed.
Well, I think that they have, and I talking with Ray about this last week. He had gone in and talked to Tony before he ever got signed by this ball club to try to clear their differences. And, you know, it takes a man to be able to go in and talk about things that are happening in your life.
Fly ball twisting deep to left field, headed for the corner, and that ball's out of here. Into the Crawford boxes and a home run for Ray Lankford. And the Cardinals just keep hitting home runs. They hit him in bunches. Lankford hits his third of the season. So Tony La Russa liking his number 2 hitter more and more, having him back every day. And just like that, it is 1-0 St. Louis.
Well, we talked about Tim Redding learning how to pitch in the big leagues and learning how to be successful. And you can see all of these pitches are hard fastballs away from Lankford, and he finally catches up with one. You've got to be able to add and subtract on your fastball if you're going to be able to be successful up here in the big leagues consistently.
What an at-bat that was, too, for Lankford. His 9th pitch of that at-bat, and he knocks it the other way out of the park. Swing and a high pop foul back out of play by Albert Pujols. He homered here last night.
It's very difficult, Dave, when you come to the big leagues and you have a great arm, you have a great fastball, and somebody tells you to throw a pitch that's 72 miles an hour. It's hard for you to get that into your head, but to be successful up here, you've got to be able to do that. You've got to be able to change speeds, and not only change speeds, but locate at the same time.
Change speeds and locate those change of speeds. Move the ball around. Change the eye level of the hitter. Line shot, base hit down into the corner, maybe extra bases for Pujols. It caroms up, and a fan touched it down there. And Pujols finally sees that as he turns around. So he winds up with 2 bases. A double for Albert Pujols, who just keeps raking all over the park.
And you can see these pitches by Tim Redding. Watch where this ball is. This ball is down and away, almost off the plate, and you think as a pitcher, how in the world does a guy hit that pitch? Well, the reason that he hits it is because you continue to throw the same speed over and over and over again. Good hitters are going to catch up with that sooner or later. I don't care if you shoot it out of a bazooka.
Well, that line drive probably looked like a bazooka right by Bagwell and Kent on the right side, and here comes Jim Edmonds. Takes time for ball 1. Edmonds hitting .298, 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. He had a rare off night in this ballpark yesterday. He was 0 for 4. That doesn't happen very often for him here. The native of Orange, California, has taken a liking to Minute Maid Park, and I guess he should. With a .387 career hitter here before yesterday, he waved right through that pitch.
Well, that was a hanging breaking ball that Redding is throwing. Tried to do that earlier on a pitch and didn't get the strike. But that ball right there, if you're going to throw that pitch to Jim Edmonds, you better start getting it down in the strike zone. I can guarantee you he's not going to miss the next one.
Scott Rolen up next. Play on. Pujols save. He stayed up. He was tagged in the back by Everett. He did not get him in time, but a close play at second base.
What a pitcher does on that is he looks for daylight for the shortstop. And when I say daylight, what you're looking for is separation between Adam Everett and Pujols at second base. If you see that separation or that little bit of daylight, that's when you spin and throw and try to pick Pujols off of second base.
Redding is allowed a homer and a double. On the inside corner, Edmonds frozen there. That one snuck right under his hands. A pitcher's pitch, and it's 1-2.
These are the type pitches that I'm talking about that Redding can make. He's got great stuff and he's got great location. He just needs to learn how to add and subtract on his fastball, changing speeds a little bit better, and I think he's going to be very successful once he learns that.
He's been getting hit hard, cut on and missed by Edmonds. He's down on strikes. Pretty much the way it's been going for Redding. He has struck out 2 men in the inning, and he's allowed a homer and a double in the same inning.
You can see this fastball. That's right down Broadway, but what set that up was that off-speed pitch earlier in the count that Jim Edmonds swung through. Anytime as a hitter, you know that you have to wait for a split second because somebody may throw you an off-speed pitch. It's going to really throw your timing off when you've got a guy out there throwing the ball 94 miles an hour.
Well, he'd better be very, very careful, Redding, with this hitter, and he delivers down and away. A cautious first pitch to Scott Rolen, who ran his hitting streak to 10 consecutive games last night and is the #1 hitter in the majors with those 23 RBIs. A .362 pace for the #5 hitter of the Cardinals. They lead it 1-0. That's over but low.
The one thing about Scott Rolen that you can pretty much guarantee is he's going to be the same whether there's a runner at second base or whether there's nobody at second base, and that's why he's able to drive in the runs that he does, is because he doesn't change his approach. He doesn't try to do anything different when he's in an RBI situation.
Man, has he ever settled in and looking comfortable, not only because he's hitting in the 360s with power and all the RBIs, but comfortable in this Cardinal uniform. After a couple of years ago being moved over from Philadelphia, a tumultuous last couple of years with Larry Boa and the Phillies. Now he is right at home in St. Louis, and there's a deep drive to left field, way back. Berkman turning, looking up, and she's gone. Another home run for Scott Rolen, #8 for him, a 2-run shot. And it is 3-0 St. Louis. Jimmy Williams knows the feeling looking at this ballpark, as intimate as it is. 315 to what they call the Crawford boxes in left.
Well, this ball is right down the middle, and I can tell you Scott Rolen can hit a fastball. Keeps his hands back. That ball is smoke.
25 RBIs now for Rolen.
It's April 21st right now, and you'd think it was July 4th the way the balls are flying out of this thing. This looks like fireworks tonight.
Rolen, for him, the baseball has to look the size of a beach ball. He is crushing it. An 11-game hitting streak, a Major League best 25 RBIs. Bert Hooton will try to do his best to calm down Redding, but this is the guy that loves it. Matt Morris has been throwing a lot more changeups lately. Go along with that blistering fastball. That's in for a strike on Edgar Renteria.
It's awful nice for a guy like Matt Morris to come out with a lead. It's a little bit different, especially facing this Astro ball club. You know that they can score as well as your club can at any time. But knowing that you've got a 3-run lead before you ever take the hill,
I like that. And all the hits for extra bases, 2 homers and a double. Little trickler toward third base, softly and foul. And incidentally, that was a momentous home run for Scott Rolen. That was the 200th home run of his Major League career.
You were talking earlier about Scott Rolen feeling comfortable in a St. Louis Cardinal uniform. Growing up in Jasper, Indiana, this is where Scott used to come and watch ball games in the St. Louis at Busch Stadium, watching ball games with his dad. They didn't get to sit right behind the backstop. They were sitting in the upper deck.
In there for strike 3 on Edgar Renteria. So Redding strikes out the side. Now that sounds great. But he gave up 3 runs, including home runs to Lankford, and number 200 in the career of Scott Rolen. 3-0 St. Louis. It's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One from Houston, Texas, and Minute Maid Park. This is the home of the 2004 All-Star Games. We'll give you a look at a couple of those potential All-Stars for the Astros. Greg Biggio in center off to a great start. Bagwell is hitting .385. Jeff Kent at second base. Lance Berkman followed by Richard Hidalgo, who he's driven in 19 runs. He's off to a great start. Mike Lamb at third. Brad Ausmus the catcher. And Tim Redding is the pitcher batting ninth, all up against the righty Matt Morris. He's won 2 in a row since an opening day loss to Milwaukee.
You start looking at that lineup, and the Astros don't really give you any time to take a breath. And Matt Morris is going to work quick tonight. He's going to change speeds a lot. And this guy's a veteran pitcher. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't have the same stuff that he had when he first came into the big leagues, but he does know how to locate, and he does know how to change speeds.
Biggio, the first man, a little topper to third base. An easy play for Rolen, who guns him down. Scotty Rolen with 5 Gold Gloves to his credit. You're talking about when he was a youngster. His dad, Ed, would take the family to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, watch the Cardinals play, and he became a big fan of Ozzie Smith and Willie McGee and Tommy Herr. Here's a look at the rest of the defensive alignment for St. Louis.
Well, Scott used to tell me, he said, you know, sitting in the upper deck, it's a whole lot of difference than sitting in the dugout. He said, I remember telling my dad how bright the field looked from way up in the upper deck. And this is a guy that could have easily foregone the baseball career and been a basketball player, because he was just as good in basketball, as probably better than he was in baseball.
Bobby Knight talked to him about playing for Indiana. He was a big Kentucky fan of the Rick Pitino team. By the way, Scott's parents, Linda and Ed, they are retired school teachers. Now they have great seats at Busch Stadium. They get the best seats you can get. And they make that long drive from Sarasota, Florida. They have a 23-foot motor home, and they drive to St. Louis to watch him play in the not-so-cheap seats. 2-1 pitch, wrapped again to Rolen. On the backhand, he has it. And Adam Everett is hitting .352 coming in. He was supposed to be a solid glove, no-hit kind of player at shortstop, but he's been swinging a very good bat. He's 0 for 1 tonight, though.
We did these ball games in spring training. I remember Jimmy Williams telling me, he said, you're going to be surprised at how well Adam Everett is going to swing the bat for us this year. Going to hit him in the top of the lineup and put him between 2 of their best hitters, Biggio and Bagwell, and he's come through just like Jimmy said.
Bagwell not waiting around on Morris, laces that one back to the net. Jeff Bagwell at .385 with 4 homers and 13 runs batted in. And a big reason he doesn't wait on Matt Morris is because he likes what he sees from him. He's a .360 career hitter against him. He swings right over the top of that one, though.
Well, Matt Morris, you can see him. He's working quick, trying to get the ball to the plate in a hurry. And I think that's how you get guys out successfully and repetitiously, is working as fast as you can. You still have your concentration, but you don't give the hitter time to make adjustments.
Well, Morris is trying to breeze through the top third of the Houston order. His opponent, Redding, threw 30 pitches. And another one hit toward Rolen. He'll range, get it, fire on the run, high throw, down on the bag is Pujols, and the side is retired. Rolen has not only hit the home run, he made all 3 plays in the inning. He can do everything. Slamming Cardinals off to a hot start, 3-0 over Houston here at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One. This is the home of the All-Star game in 2004, so later on this summer they'll be packed in here for the home run derby, and the way he's swinging it, Scott Rolen is going to be in it. He hit his 8th home run of the year in the opening frame against Tim Redding. Fouled away by Reggie Sanders, playing right field tonight for the Cardinals. Jeff Brantley, Dave O'Brien with you. They're very, very excited about the All-Star game. It's going to be the 3rd time the city of Houston has hosted the event. First time here in this ballpark. And we're hoping for weather All-Star night and for the home run derby just like tonight. Little blue shot over third. Lamb racing down the line. It's going to fall in fair. It rolls into foul territory. Sanders muscles himself a double. And he's into scoring position. And Gary Miller, I know that All-Star balloting has already begun, hasn't it?
Well, it began in a special way, Dave. You know, it's live television. You got people who don't understand ESPN covers this coast to coast. Anyway, Chad Irvin from the 82nd Airborne got to cast the first ballot here. And he's just back from Iraq. He was out there with Roger Clemens and Lance Berkman. And the balloting's underway. You can vote coast to coast, retail outlets at all 30 Major League ballparks. You can cast your ballots online at MLB.com at all 30 Major League team sites. And it's the 2nd time ever that the All-Star game will be in the same city as the Super Bowl. First time back here in Houston since 1986, Dave.
All right, Gary Matheny swings and misses on a high fastball. I think it's fitting we have some fine military folks here in the ballpark tonight. Gary may need some protection done.
He looked like he needed some. Like they were trying to jerk the camera away from him.
Matheny at 333 with a homer and 5 runs batted in. Morris to follow him, and very quickly another man ready to score for the Cardinals. They're off to a roaring start offensively. They came into the night 2nd in hitting in the National League, 2nd in homers, and have already hit 2 in this game. And the other area that is a little bit surprising is stolen bases, JP. They are running wild 18 times successfully out of 22 attempts. They're the #1 base stealing team in the National League.
Well, they've got some guys that can run, especially with Reggie Sanders that we see at second base, Marlon Anderson. They've got some guys that can run bases. I mean, even the big guys, Rolen at third base and Jim Edmonds in center field, those guys can steal bags themselves, and they can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, Matheny has hit 1 home run so far. He waits on Redding, who pitches. Lunging, little blooper. Here comes Kent to make the catch. And Sanders holds at second base. Time for an update. Let's go to the guys in the studio, Dave Repson and Rob Dibble.
All right, Dave Locherman taking us to Pittsburgh Pirates and Cubs. An awful outing for Josh Fogg here, Dibs.
Well, Moises Alou got to him, then Derek Bell comes up, and he just puts the nail in his coffin. The first inning sometimes, Trevor's the toughest one to get out for a starting pitcher.
Well, that's for sure. Tonight, they're still in the first. 8 runs in the first, Dave.
Well, this one was headed that way, but 3-0 in the first inning. The Cardinals settled for those. It's a night of offense in baseball as Matt Morris tries to add to it. He's a good hitter. 3 out of 9 with 3 RBIs. I saw somebody finally got Dontrell Willis out yesterday after 10 straight hits.
This is the one ballpark as a pitcher that you want to make sure that you get your ABs in and you get your swings in. There's nothing like taking batting practice in this ballpark for a pitcher for your hitting ego.
For your self-confidence.
You got that right.
Well, here's a look. 315 to left. 404 out there in left center. And then you come to Tal's Hill out in center, which is 436 dead away. So that's a poke. Not only do you have to hit it over the fence out there, of course, you have to hit it over the controversial hill as well.
How'd you like to chase one up that hill?
How'd you like to ask Craig Biggio what it's like to chase one up that hill? Or Berkman and fall flat on your face.
Oh, man.
That's a little embarrassing for a professional outfielder. Fouled away. And the count 2-2 on Morris. Minute Maid Park in Houston. Great to have you along for Wednesday Night Baseball. Jeff Brantley, Dave O'Brien, and Gary Miller with us. As we come to the top half of inning number 2. These two teams played last night. St. Louis won 5-3, but last week the Astros just ran roughshod over the Cardinals. They swept them in 3 games. That was in St. Louis, outscoring them 26-9. Sanders was on the move. He was running on that 92-mile-an-hour fastball, fouled away.
Reggie got a great jump at second base there, and that's pretty much what Tony is going to allow them to do. If he's on his own, if he can get a good break, especially from second base, because a lot of times that's the easiest bag to steal, stealing third base. You got a guy with the speed of Reggie Sanders, regardless of his age, he can still run and he can still steal some bags.
To me, that's the interesting thing about what Tony La Russa is doing. You don't look at his everyday lineup and say, well, they're going to be a threat to steal a bunch of bases, because Pujols doesn't run. Edmonds doesn't steal bases. Scott Rolen's not a major base stealer. Reggie Sanders, Mike Matheny. I think he's surprising.
But they still run.
They do. Yeah.
Well, if your team's giving up as many home runs as they have, you're going to do whatever you can to score as many runs as you can.
Oh, they're hitting them, but they're giving them up. They've allowed more than anybody in the majors. That's up high on Morris. In the count 3-2.
And this is not the ballpark to get your ERA down in. I can assure you of that.
No, you don't circle this one on the calendar and say, well, yeah, that's a chance to maybe go 7 or 8, allow 3 or 4 hits, drop that ERA, get it out of the 9s. This is more like coming to Colorado.
Exactly.
Redding really laboring with certain hitters. He's not supposed to labor with a pitcher, but the runner goes on the 8th pitch of that at bat, fouled away by Morris.
This is the problem that Redding has, and we see his velocity and we see the pitches that he's throwing. But the bottom line is if you continue to throw fastballs, regardless of how hard that they are, any hitter, even a pitcher, is going to be able to time those pitches. Now, what that does is it elevates his pitch count, and he's not able to change speeds enough when the better hitters come to the plate.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit. Here comes Sanders, rounding third. They're going to bring him in. Biggio's throw to the plate will be cut off. Another run in to make it 4-0 St. Louis. So the pitcher, Matt Morris, picks up his 4th RBI of the year. Jimmy Williams not sure what to do with Redding, who's really been the victim of bad run support the last couple of years, but tonight he's getting beat up.
Well, there's just no sense in this happening, throwing this many fastballs and not having a breaking ball that you can throw over the plate for a strike. This is the big leagues. You've got to be able to throw at least 2 pitches over the plate for a strike at any time, and right now Redding is not doing that, and that's why they're hitting the ball the way they're hitting it.
So here's Marlon Anderson, the breaking ball in there for a strike. He actually began this contest by striking out. Redding victimized by poor run support all through 2003, and in his first 2 starts of this year they had scored only 3 runs for him. I don't know what that does to a pitcher's mentality. I guess you come to think, well, I've got to be perfect every time out. This isn't just over 4 or 5 starts. This is going back 2 seasons now.
Well, I don't think that he's got to worry about that. What he's got to take care of is Tim Redding on the mound, and that's learning how to pitch. And right now, he's not throwing enough off-speed stuff to get hitters out.
I'll tell you what, they're also fouling off a lot of pitches. They fouled off 14 pitches.
And the reason is that he continues to throw fastballs. You don't think those guys sitting in the Cardinal dugout see that? Guarantee you they're watching those fastballs. You're going to get one sooner or later. You might as well wait on it.
Outside, Matt Morris at first base, and it is 4-0 on the strength of 2 homers, 2 doubles. Ray Lankford and Scott Rolen have already gone yard tonight.
This is the most off-speed pitches we've seen him throw to a single hitter yet.
Sharply hit toward the middle, but Kent beating Everett for 1.
Look what happened.
Double play. 4-6-3, and he's out of the inning, but Redding gives up another run and 2 more hits, and it's 4-0.
Dave Refs and Rob Dibble in the studio. Marlins and Phils, and a quick start for Florida, Rob.
Well, the Marlins pitching staff is leading the major leagues in ERA, so they don't need too many runs to win. Mike Lowell goes deep in the corner, and that's exactly what you want to do with the breaking ball. Try to keep it fair.
Phils have lost 16 of 18 against Florida. They're down 1-0, Dave.
That's right. They just keep crushing Philadelphia. It doesn't matter which park either, the old park or the new one. Here's St. Louis in front, 4-0 over Houston. And Jeff Kent to lead things off for the Astros. They have plenty of lumber themselves. As mentioned, they just outscored St. Louis in the series at Busch Stadium last week, 26-9. So they're trying to get going against Matt Morris. But Morris in the first inning, Jeff Brantley, looked awfully sharp.
Well, he did, and then you saw that pitch right there. It was 91 miles per hour right on the outside corner. And the St. Louis Cardinals have got to have Matt be the real Matt Morris and be able to go out there and be the leader of this staff if they're going to contend in the National League Central at all.
Did you see Kent, by the way, step out and wait to about a count of 7 before he got back in? The Astros were saying before the game, their reports are Morris is working even faster than he has in the past. He's always been one of the quickest workers in the game. And he makes quick work here of Jeff Kent, popping him up to Albert Pujols.
Well, I think that what Matt Morris is trying to do is the quicker that you work, the less time that you give the hitter to make an adjustment from pitch to pitch. And that's what you want to be able to do. You want to get the ball and throw it. You want to have your game plan, be in sync with your catcher. Now, you don't want to work so fast that you have no idea what you're doing, but Matt Morris is a veteran pitcher. He knows what he's doing. And on the opposite side, if you're the Houston Astros, you want to slow him down as much as you can.
Well, the other thing, I mean, if you were a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, you'd want to get it and throw it as quickly as you could, too, with the guys backing him up. You've got a Gold Glover at third base, a Gold Glover at shortstop, a Gold Glover in center field,
and a Gold Glover behind the plate. And I think that's part of the reason that Matt can do this is he has great confidence in the game calling ability of Mike Matheny. I don't even see him shaking him off. He's just getting the ball and letting it fly.
Well, I remember asking Kevin Brown about a no-hitter that he had thrown with the Florida Marlins back in 1997 in San Francisco, and he did it in just a little over 2 hours. High pop up into left field, a lazy fly, and Lankford is there, and Lance Berkman is retired, 2 down. And I said, well, you pitched a terrific game, obviously. You must have had everything working. And he said, well, I had a lot of stuff working. It wasn't a perfect game in my estimation, even though he hit a guy. He came very close to a perfect game. He said, I wasn't perfect out there. A perfect game for me, a perfect inning for me, is 3 pitches, 3 ground ball outs.
And you can do that when you're working quick and you're in sync with your catcher. If you're having to shake pitches off and step off the mound and not comfortable, you're not going to locate number one because you're having to think too much out there on the mound, and that's the last thing that you want to be doing. But both of these guys, I can assure you, they go over the scouting report before the ball game, and they know exactly how they want to attack each different hitter as the Astros come to the plate.
I do get the feeling, though, particularly with young power pitchers, their idea of a perfect game is striking everybody out. Of course, you're throwing a ton of pitches. Guys like Matt Morris, they want to get you out as quickly as they can. If it's 3 ground ball outs right to the third baseman, well, that's what he induced in the first inning. Well, that's a perfect inning for them.
Yeah, the object is to win the game. The only way that you're going to be able to stay in long enough to win the game is to be able to pitch 7 or 8 innings. But the way that you do that is you eliminate high pitch counts. You go out there and throw 110 pitches in 5 innings, you're not going to win any ball game.
Well, there's Scott Rolen to gobble up another one in plenty of time to get Richard Hidalgo. And it's 6 up and 6 down. Matt Morris looking great inside Minute Maid Park early on.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Bank One, brought to you by Weber. Over 50 years of grilling passion goes into every grill we make. And DuPont Car Care products.
Wednesday Night Baseball here in Houston, and that wind is whipping a bit right to left at about 13 to 18 miles an hour. Cardinals have really jumped on Tim Redding early on, maybe using some of that wind to their advantage. 2 home runs, Lankford and Rolen. Although down into left field, it's a bit of a chip shot, as Ray Lankford found out with a home run in the first inning. Not sure you need any wind to help you with that. It'll be Lankford, then Pujols, and then Edmonds. The Cardinals up 4-0. And that's inside for a ball on Lankford. Right-hander's pitch is popped up into center. Here comes Biggio coming in to make the catch. And he's got it. Gary Miller, sometimes he doesn't like to go out very much out there to Tal's Hill in center field, does he?
You know, Dave, that's what he loves. because I'm right here by Tal's Hill, the idea of Tal Smith, longtime general manager of this team. Now, I remember Beige telling me last year, he said, why would I have to worry about how the ball caroms here? Nobody's ever going to hit it there. Well, people remember this scene of the ball hit by Pat Burrell. In fact, Craig Biggio almost sprained his neck on that play. He wasn't sure he could feel his arms and legs, so he's a little more careful this year. He's been playing some caroms and knows that the foul pole, the flagpole, and this hill could come into play, especially the way the Cardinals are hitting tonight.
Yeah, hard enough for a guy to change positions as often as he's done it, from catcher to second base, second base out to the outfield, but doing it at the age of 37, 38, then having to run uphill to catch fly balls.
But I think that just shows you the type of player that Craig Biggio is, and that he's willing to sacrifice whatever he's created at the other positions and his success to make the team better.
Lamb throwing out Albert Pujols, who's 1 for 2 with a double. And there are 2 gone.
I think you could start to see Tim Redding starting to make some adjustments, but you know, the thing about it is you've got to do that early in the ball game from the first inning on, instead of just trying to power your way through that first inning. That adrenaline that you feel as you walk out onto the field in the first inning sometimes can be a great enemy for you. But now that he's calmed down a little bit, you saw him pitching Ray Lankford inside, threw him a couple of change-ups. He got the ball down to Pujols there. This is a little bit different pitcher than we saw in the first couple of innings.
Edmonds takes a strike. He struck out in the opening frame.
You see that pitch right there. That's 84-mile-an-hour changeup. All he's trying to do is to keep the hitters off balance. But he needs to do this from the first game, for the first pitch on.
Edmonds quickly in the hole. Well, Astros pitching is expected to be a strong suit. It has been for Houston. But the injury to Andy Pettitte and Redding's early woes have dampened some of the luster of this pitching staff. Redding tonight getting his 3rd start. He was roughed up in his first 2 starts. Andy Pettitte, they were hoping, would be ready to come off the disabled list on Friday at Colorado, and he says he would be. That's in there for strike 3. Edmonds strikes out for the 2nd time. They're going to push him back. Gary Miller will have more on that a little bit later. The Cardinals lead 4-0. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Bank One, and tonight inside the home of the All-Star Game for 2004, Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Jeff Brantley, Dave O'Brien, Gary Miller with you. Beautiful night. The sun peeking over a great big wall in left field. We're going to find out what that wall is made of, because I have concerns come home run derby that someone is going to hit one right through that thing. As close as it is. A chopper by Mike Lamb, but a foul ball. Matt Morris has started this game by setting down the first 6 Astros he's seen.
And this shows you the difference. That pitch right there shows you the difference between Matt Morris and a young Tim Redding. It's a 2-0 count, and he throws him a breaking ball for a strike to keep him off balance.
Softly hit, skips off the hill. The Gold Glover Renteria sets down Lamb. That's 7 in a row. Let's go to the studio. Dave Revson.
Okay, Dave, thanks a lot. The Blue Jays still looking to win their first one at home, and this isn't going to help matters any, Dibs.
When you're the backup catcher, you got to make the most of your starts. Off of Ted Lilly, he was 3 for 6 coming in with a home run. He's now 4 for 7 with 2 home runs.
So Mirabelli going deep, giving the Red Sox the 1-0 lead early on against the Jays. Dave.
All right, Dave, thanks. As Dib points out, those backup guys, they have to make a living too, and they can get sneaky. Hot shot by Osmus. He's got himself a base hit to right. That's the first man to reach on Matt Morris, 8 batters in. And later tonight, Major League Baseball's doubleheader continues on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern. Brian Giles and the Padres take on Barry Bonds and the Giants. Sunday, see Texas Anaheim. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One. Barry Bonds has homered in 7 straight games. He's hit 9 homers. JB, he is 1 home run shy of matching the Major League record for consecutive games with a homer.
And he's going to be able to break the record at Pac Bell.
If he does.
Did you hear what I said? He's going to be able to break the record at Pac Bell. So what I'm telling you is book it.
Of course, it's not called Pac Bell anymore. Dale Long in 1956 hit in 8 consecutive games, hit a home run. Don Mattingly did it in 1987, and Ken Griffey Jr. in 1993.
That's a pretty tough curveball right there. That shows you a pitcher that doesn't get too many ABs. I can remember facing Dennis Martinez when I first came up to the big leagues He threw me that big hammer hook. I go down into the dirt, and they're ringing me up for a strike.
That's not fair.
No, it wasn't.
That's not kind.
And it wasn't fair even more when he did it again. He threw me another one right at me, comes right at my head. I'm diving down into the dirt. Strike two, and I can see everybody in the dugout putting their hands over their face, cracking up laughing. So I backed up all the way in the back of the box as far as I could get. So at least if he threw it at me, he throws me a fastball on the outside corner. I'm back to the dugout. Dirty and embarrassed.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
Yeah, welcome to the big league.
Redding striking out, trying to bunt, fouls one away. Now it's the top of the order, and Craig Biggio, who is 0 for 1. He's grounded out to third in his 17th major league season. 7 times an all-star. Morris with a pretty good breaking ball, but outside. But JB, he is still changing, still experimenting. He's succeeding, failing, succeeding, coming back with a new approach. He was scuffling last year in August, hitting barely over 200. And he got together with the hitting instructor, the hitting coach for the Astros, Harry Spillman, and they said, look, we've got to toss out what I've been doing, break down what we've been doing wrong, build it back up again, and he has dramatically reduced that great big leg kick he's had for years. That's been trademarked for him.
And it has been, and he used it because he thought that leg kick gave him some extra power. But at this point in Biggio's career, with the lineup that he has, his object is to get on base. And to get on base, you've got to be balanced at the plate, and that's what he's doing now. He's trying to keep himself balanced and just get the ball and put it in play.
Runner goes. It's swatted foul up by third.
But I asked him, I said, Craig, I said, well, how do you not think about that leg kick because you've done it for so long? And he said, JB, he said, what I'm trying to do is concentrate on what the pitcher is trying to do to me and not what I'm trying to do physically at the plate. He said, if I think about it, he goes, I'm going to mess myself up. He said, so what I'm trying to do is in this situation right here, I'm trying to figure out, or Biggio's trying to figure out what Matt Morris is going to throw to him on the next pitch. So that keeps him in concentration, and he doesn't think about what he's doing physically.
Ground ball routinely to Renteria. The flip retires the side. So they finally get a hit off of Morris, but nothing comes of that. He's been awfully sharp, and the Cardinals lead by 4. Top of the 4th inning, this young man has it all covered. It doesn't matter who wins tonight, who loses tonight. He's got the Astros shirt on and the Cardinal cap. He's got them both covered.
He's got them covered.
Scott Rolen to lead things off here. It is 4-0 St. Louis. Great to have you with us. Turned into a beautiful night. And an even better night brewing for Rolen. He belted a 2-run homer in the first inning. So 8 for him already. The 25 RBIs, best in the big leagues. And he's hit in 11 consecutive games as he bloops a foul off to the right. I mean, it looked like it was going to rain cats and dogs here for long stretches in the afternoon. Great big dark clouds billowing overhead. It was scary, JB. On the infield, will it sneak through? Kent can't reach it. It's a base hit. They're all falling in for Scott Rolen, no matter where he hits them, over the fence or just muscling it through the infield like that. He's 2 for 2.
Well, this is an 0-2 pitch, and anytime that you've got an 0-2 pitch, you've got to get it more inside than that. That pitch is too close to the plate. Even though Kent hits the ball really well, he's still a little step short out there at second base. That's the price you pay when you've got somebody that can hit the way he does.
Well, Edgar Renteria, a terrific hitter. He struck out in the first inning, but started the night hitting .304 with a homer. Reggie Sanders after him. This is a pretty stout lineup the Cardinals send after pitchers.
Well, these are 2 stout lineups. I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't want to face either one.
It's not a treat for anybody. Tried to lay down the bunt, and he was still in the batter's box, according to Andy Fletcher, when it came back up and hit him. Of course, if he's out of the box at the time the baseball hits him, he would have been out. And Jimmy Williams would like a closer look.
Yeah, he's still in the box. Because if you're out of the box and that ball hits you, you are out and heading back to the dugout. And I think that's what Jimmy Williams is asking home plate umpire right now.
He still had a foot in the box, though.
He still had a foot in the box.
At least according to that replay, he did.
Anytime that you're trying to drag bunch, you do move up in the box a little bit to try to make sure that you give yourself the best case scenario of keeping the ball fair. And you can see Jimmy right now saying, I don't know that back foot was still in the box when he made contact. when the ball made contact with him. Let's watch it again. And you can clearly see that ball hit him while he was still in the batter's box. I mean, he's in the batter's box right there, and the ball hits him on the leg.
No doubt.
Still fun to go out and argue, though. Especially when it's 4-0.
The pitch to Renteria, not bunting this time. He fouls it away. Jimmy Williams, of course, a longtime lieutenant of Bobby Cox's in their days in Atlanta, the very beginning of that Braves dynasty. Jimmy, who has for years and years drawn raves as a tremendous infield coach. You'll see him out here without a cap on in the hours before the game, hitting fungos for hours to players, trying to improve their defensive skills. And then he'd jump over into the third base coach's box when he was with Bobby Cox and work there for the rest of the night. He did not inherit Bobby Cox's propensity for getting tossed out of game. Jimmy stays in a lot more of them than Bobby does. That went up and in on Renteria.
Now that's where you want an 0-2 pitch. You want to be able to move the hitter away from the plate, either make him jump back, and that's not throwing the ball at the hitter's head. It's throwing the ball right up under or right above his hands, and that'll make him retreat. Then you can make a quality pitch here and possibly get a double play.
Blooper, right center toward the alley. Hidalgo can't reach it. Rolen very aggressive, and it's bobbled by Hidalgo. But Rolen wasn't going anywhere but third base anyway. He was not going to stop at second. And they're on the corners for St. Louis. Let's go to the studio and Dave Revson.
Thank you, Dave. Braves taking on the Reds. Jason LaRue up there for Cincinnati. Bottom of the first, Reds already on top 1-0. Base hit here. Austin Kearns going to score. Going to play at the plate, Dips.
Yeah, Sean Casey, who's been hitting the heck out of the ball. He comes in to Eddie Perez hard. Eddie Perez not thrilled with the elbow. Going to leave him a little present here to remember him by. Watch, he's going to drop the ball right in Casey's lap. Casey gets it, throws it back at him.
It's 2-1 right now. Cincinnati on top, guys.
That's about as friendly as a disagreement is going to get on a play like that, isn't it? Nothing serious going on there. Reggie Sanders doubled and scored in the second inning. And there are runners at first and third. There's a swing and a drive, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Look at this one sail way up there around the tracks. That's up around the train tracks for Reggie Sanders, his 6th home run. It is 7-0 St. Louis.
Every Cardinal coming to the plate knows they're going to get a fastball sooner or later, and they are sitting dead red absolutely, and that's why they're hitting the ball off of Tim Redding the way that they are.
That's the 3rd home run the Cardinals have hit, all of them to left field. Here comes Bert Hoop, the Astros pitching coach.
I don't think you could have put that one on a tee any better for Reggie at that point. Fastball right down Broad Street. Belt high. Look at Reggie. Oh, my goodness.
Onto the railroad tracks. So up over the giant wall in left field. 7-0, the Cardinals. So Lankford, Rolen, and Sanders have all homered. They landed way up there. The only way to get it back is for someone to hop on that engine that's waiting and scoot on down to get it. Reggie 2 for 2. And he is half the way to the cycle tonight. And it's only the 4th inning. He's the kind of guy that can certainly get that. And this is the kind of ballpark with big gaps out there in left center, right center field. Conducive to a triple. Reggie Sanders probably thinking cycle already. Mike Matheny 0 for 1. He's popped out to second.
Well, we know that the potency of this Astro lineup, 7 runs in this ballpark, especially this early. I don't know that I'm real safe with that lead. I don't know that a lead in this park anytime is safe.
Now the problem is it doesn't look like the Cardinals are done the way they're swinging the bats. Mashing 3 home runs, 2 doubles.
Redding obviously does not have much confidence in his off-speed stuff because we haven't seen much today. But I think as time goes on and he gets to watch Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit pitch, I think it's going to make him a better pitcher, and he's going to learn that to be successful in this game, you've got to be able to throw your off-speed pitches for strikes.
Here's a tale of two entirely different starts. Morris has been terrific. He's allowed only one hit. Redding has been lit up.
And let's at least say this for Tim Redding. The guy's not scared. He's throwing strikes. He's coming after these Cardinal hitters. And I think that's what Jimmy Williams sees when you make the decision of whether you're going to keep Tim Redding or Jeremy Robertson and trade him away. The arm of this kid is outstanding. He just needs a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more time to learn how to use his arm.
Ricky Stone warmed up in the bullpen. It's fouled away by Matheny. Morris on deck. 7-zip the Cardinals. That shot by Reggie Sanders was one of the more prodigious home runs you will see hit here. Now, plenty of home runs are hit in this ballpark, and most of them go to left field. Fly ball to right this time. That one moseying on into the stands as a souvenir. But I mean, when you hit it up around the train tracks, that's what Reggie says. I hit that pretty good. I don't know if I can hit that any harder.
Well, that ball landed right up here somewhere. I mean, that thing looked like it was heading for the office across the street.
It's over 400 feet.
You know, we've talked about Tim Redding not getting much run support, and he doesn't have any right now.
Matheny with a routine fly to right field. One down. Let's go back and take a look at the clout by Sanders. Now look at this thing fly. Took a little skip on top of the roof and on the railroad track.
But as I was saying about Tim Redding and getting his run support, or the lack of run support, it's very difficult for the Astro hitters to back him up offensively when he's giving up this many runs early in a ball game. They start to press a little bit. You start to feel like you have to get a hit instead of relaxing and going out and just having fun swinging the bat. If he can go out there and put together 2 or 3 innings early in a ball game of shutout baseball, or at least one-run baseball, I think he's going to get a lot more run support from this offense than what he's getting now.
Ground ball, weakly hit to Kent. Up and over to Bagwell for the second out. The problem with Redding, and this is what Bert Hooton and Jimmy Williams have to be a little concerned about, is that he was not pitching well coming into this outing. It's not like this is out of the ordinary for him. It's just 3 bad outings in a row. So far, he's pitched 12 1/3 innings for the season. He's given up 16 runs on 20 hits.
Well, if he just sits out there and throws fastballs at 93 miles an hour, I don't care who it is, they're going to kill you.
Here's another drive, right field, and this one is going to be out of here. Another home run. The 4th one of the ball game off of Tim Redding. I mean, he's basically putting it on a tee tonight. Marlon Anderson cranks that one to right field. Finally, a home run the other way. Williams has seen quite enough. It is 8-0 St. Louis. So we have a pitching change. Tim Redding cannot escape the 4th inning. Cannot escape the hot home run bats of the Cardinals. Couple of the men who hit home runs tonight all smiles. Marlon Anderson moments ago off of this man, Tim Redding. He's allowed 4 home runs, and that gets him the hook in favor of Ricky Stone, who comes on to face Ray Lankford. He's hit a home run tonight. So 79 pitches and giving up 8 runs on 9 hits. So they just tattooed Tim Redding tonight. Stone pitching in his 5th game, trying to bring down an ERA of 7.20. He worked in 65 games a year ago with Jimmy Williams.
Ricky Stone, as you can see, he's trying to work that outside corner, getting the ball to sink away from left-handers and down and into right-handers. And then he's got a changeup that he's going to use to try to get them off of that sinking fastball.
Ball 4, Lankford will take his base. Well, last season, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Florida Marlins battled for the National League wild card. A terrific race. Tomorrow, Jim Thome and the Philadelphia Phillies welcome Miguel Cabrera, one of the great rising stars in baseball. The world champion Marlins coming to brand new Citizens Park on ESPN's day game at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. St. Louis up 8-0, and when we came on the air tonight, we were talking about Albert Pujols and Scott Rolen and Jimmy Edmonds and all the home run pop of this Cardinal team. That certainly has proven to be the case tonight, but they also give up more home runs than any team in baseball. That's been the case with Matt Morris. He's been terrific. Lamb throws on and retires Pujols, and that's the inning. But it turns out to be a 4-run inning, and it's 8-0. On to the bottom half of inning number 4 here at beautiful Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, and delighted to have the owner of the Houston Astros with us, Reggie McClain, although I know you'd like it to be under better circumstances.
Well, welcome to Houston, and it's a beautiful, beautiful Texas night in April. The only thing that's bad is the score.
That's right. Well, 8-0, and usually the way this thing works, when we bring on an owner such as yourself and your team's down, it's like 8 runs just like that. It's
well, I'll stick around till you produce them.
Okay. Well, we want to talk about the All-Star game, obviously, because this is a huge event for the city of Houston, for the Astros, for this beautiful park of yours. And I'm hoping it's weather just like tonight. This couldn't be better come All-Star night.
Well, you know, we hope we can recover from an 8-run loss and losing right now. And then we're hoping in July we can have a 80-degree day. So
this is very, very exciting. And I know balloting has already started. It was the first official ballot cast today right in the park.
Yes, it is. And it's very exciting. Major League Baseball was here today, made the announcement on the All-Star balloting, and they think they'll have over 35 million ballots that will be worked this year.
And remember, knocks that one into the corner down the line, but a foul ball. He hit it very sharply. He's 0 for 1 so far tonight.
Mr. McClain, there's an office building that's definitely across the street from the left field wall, and I have been told that is your office that's over there, and that there's a bounty if there's a ball hit through one of those pieces of glass.
Well, that is my office. That is Union Station. It was built in 1911. Was the Union Railroad station for Texas for many years. And that is my office there, and that's 422 feet from here. So it's going to take a powerful hit. But
well, you've got some powerful boys that can do that.
Yes,
now.
we do. We have some that Richard Hidalgo is one that is certainly developing, and Jeff Bagwell has that potential. And I remember one time in the early part of our new ballpark, in the lights right up there, Sammy Sosa hit a ball that hit in those lights. So we can get a strong hit like that.
It can be done. Now, is there any truth to what JB found out, that if one of the Astros knocks one through your window, there's a special prize or a gift? I mean, is there a Mercedes on the line?
Well, I'm not sure there's a Mercedes on the line. They might want to give me one.
A little pop-up into right field. Anderson backs Sanders in, and the second baseman has it for the first out. Bagwell coming up next, and of course I know you fully expect Jeff Bagwell is going to be one of those all-stars to play in this ballpark, a great, wonderful veteran for this team over the years. But it's a great event for a city and for a franchise like yours to be hosting, because the ballpark, a lot of fans around baseball still maybe haven't gotten to know it quite yet.
Well, they haven't gotten to know it since we opened it in 2000, and it's everything that's been needed in Houston. You know, the 35 years we were in the Astrodome, we didn't have natural grass, we didn't have outdoor baseball, and we have both of those now. And then when it gets warm in Houston or it rains, we can close the roof and have it 72 degrees. So we've had what baseball has needed in Texas for many years.
Mr. McClain, what are you going to do to reinforce that wall during the home run derby is what I'm trying to figure out.
I might have to open those windows in my office and put my glove on and stand up there so one of you could be here. That's going to be a lot of fun when we do that. And so I have said to our players, I said, if one of you breaks the glass there, we'll reward you. So that's kind of up in the air what the reward is, but we'll make it exciting and interesting, or maybe give something significant to charity.
Bagwell with a swing and a miss, and he's down on strikes. That could turn out to be the best home run derby we've ever had on ESPN. And I know everyone's going to be watching that to see how many are going to be up there over those train tracks.
Well, that's still a long shot, but I think with the format that you have in the home run derby, that it's going to be very conducive to an exciting one. I don't think many are going to hit home runs over the center field fence. If you've noticed out there where that one is.
436. Indeed, that's a shot. Kent rolls out to Rolen. Mr. McClain, great to have you with us. We're really looking forward to the All-Star game. It's going to be a great event.
Thank you very much for being here, and we're very proud of our ballpark and our team.
St. Louis up. Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Bank One. Dave O'Brien along with Jeff Brantley and Gary Miller, and that's Jim Edmonds rolling it right underneath Everett, who's really been outstanding defensively as they've expected. They always knew he was a wonderful glove man. It's the offense that has surprised everybody. Here, he boots one.
Well, this is not going to happen too many times. You see Adam Everett get his feet set just a little bit too early. Got his feet dead, wasn't able to get his glove down in time. You're not going to see Adam Everett do that very much at all.
So Edmonds still without a hit, although he reaches. He is 0 for 3. In fact, Edmonds and Mike Matheny, the only two Cardinals without a hit. And it's only the 5th inning. 9 hits for St. Louis. On top 8-0, and Rolen's had a big effect on this one. A 2-run homer and a single. He has scored 2 runs. Just a pleasure to visit with Ray McClain, the owner of the Houston Astros. Delightful man. The man who is, you know, Jeff Brantley, hangs out with presidents, former presidents, future presidents.
That's hard to believe that that's only 422 feet up there.
It looks like, from where we are, it looks like 1.5 miles.
I know.
Where his office is. But it's a beautiful park, and really is a magnificent place to come and watch a game, because you can do it in all weather. They'll just roll that roof on if it's raining. Tonight, just gorgeous, about 76 degrees. I think it's going to be a tremendous all-star game and home run derby. I mean, it could be a record-setting home run derby.
If you're a right-handed batter and you're asked to participate in home run derby and you don't do it, you're crazy to miss that one in this ballpark.
3-2 on Rolen. Edgar Renteria follows him.
I would imagine a left-handed power hitter like Bonds would just turn his whole body around and just try to shoot it out of left field.
In there for strike 3 on Rolen. And he knew it. He's caught looking one away. Tim Redding lit up, though, by Scott Rolen and company in the first inning. Ray Lankford is the second batter into the game. Knocks one the other way.
Well, you can see all of these pitches are about mid-thigh high up in the strike zone. That ball there to Reggie Sanders was belt high. This ball here, you can see all of these pitches are mid-thigh high, and they're followed consecutively by hard fastballs. We know that Tim Redding has a great arm, but he has got to learn that throwing fastballs 94 miles an hour is not what it's all about. That's throwing. That's not pitching. Changing speeds and moving the ball around is pitching, and he's just going to have to learn that.
Reggie Sanders, who tonight is 2 for 2, a double and a 3-run homer, said that home run that he hit up onto the train track was the longest home run he's ever hit. And Reggie's hit a few. I mean, last year, he hit 31 of them for the Pirates. Ground ball sharply up the middle, diving and missing. Everett couldn't reach it. Edmonds into second base, and some sloppy play by the Astros, trying to get under the skin of the fans here. Already committed an error in this inning, and they're 2 on with 1 out, and Sanders is coming up to try and match his home run of the 4th inning.
Well, this is the part of the ball game on the Houston Astros side that you really got to maximize your effort of keeping your concentration in the game. It's 8-0, but it still is just the 5th inning, and we know as well as everyone in this ballpark that the Cardinals can give up some runs.
Got fooled on that one, but he drops it foul, and Bagwell giving chase. In the 4th inning, he mashed this one, Jeff Brantley.
Oh. When they hit it like that and they just give a little hop, you don't even want to turn around.
He got all of it and all smiles. Also doubled in the second inning. You actually made a sound there of physical pain. Back to your pitching days.
Well, it's just my reaction when I see a ball hit.
Instinctive, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, hot shot. Lamb with a great play. Throws to second. That's all they'll get. But a wonderful job by Lamb to lunge after it, diving and making the play. And there are 2 down. Hey, speaking of home runs, later tonight, the Major League Baseball doubleheader continues on ESPN2 at 10. Brian Giles and the Padres battle Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants. Bonds has homered in 7 consecutive games. He's hit 9 overall. If he hits one tonight, that matches the Major League record for consecutive games with a home run. It's been achieved by Dale Long, Don Mattingly, and Ken Griffey Jr. in baseball history. That's 8 straight games.
I think he's going to do it.
In SBC Park here in San Francisco. So he's home, and you know he loves to hit there. Nobody else does. Grounded to the middle. Everett has it. Steps on second. Rather athletic play by Everett, who committed an error in the inning. But for a change, the Cardinals do not score. It's 8-0.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Bank One. Brought to you by the makers of Lotrimin Ultra, the latest cure for athlete's foot. And Warner Brothers Pictures, Troy, in theaters Friday, May 14th.
Bottom 5 here in Houston, Texas. All St. Louis so far. Look at that, 1 hit for the Astros. That's the Astros of Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, Jeff Kent, Lance Berkman, and Richard Hidalgo. But it's the right arm of Matt Morris that has locked them up so far.
I've watched Matt pitch over the last 2 years, and this is by far the best I've seen him throw in a long, long time. Throwing the ball 90 miles an hour, being able to change speeds. He's working quick. It doesn't look like he's shaking his elbow or trying to do anything at all other than make perfect pitches.
You know, dating back to September of 2002, he is 0-5 against Houston. So maybe a little bit of a chip on his shoulder through 4 innings, 48 pitches. Pretty economical. Get outside on Lance Berkman. Came in a 304 hitter with 3 homers. And he has always hit Morris. 409 lifetime. That's a strike on the inside corner. He's had that pitch working for him all night.
Well, what he does is he throws that backdoor breaking ball to get the hitter to lean out over the plate, and then he comes back with that fastball that starts off the plate and runs right back to the corner.
Too far in around the elbow, and 92. And that is a rebuilt elbow of Matt Morris. He had Tommy John surgery in 1999 after blowing out the elbow. Came back just 2 years after that and won 22 games. And he strikes out Berkman. Out number 1. Hey, we're on the topic of elbows. Andy Pettitte has been sore, Gary Miller. He's on the disabled list. What's his status right now? When are they going to see him again?
Well, Dave, they were hoping to see him back this week. He hasn't played since his first game here, his debut. He actually aggravated the elbow ligament injury batting when he had a check swing. He threw a bullpen yesterday. He's going to go down to Kissimmee, so he's going back to spring training for a day. He's going to pitch in a simulated game on Friday. They hope to have him next week in the series against Pittsburgh. The combination of the fact that it's mile-high Coors and they're expecting possible snow flurries on Friday meant let's take it a little easy with Pettitte. He told me this right before the game. It felt fine, especially today, the day after his bullpen, but they don't want to rush anything, so Pettitte will come back next week, and he'll not have to get indoctrinated to Coors Field this week.
Fouled back by Hidalgo. And Gary, I'm wondering if he's chomping at the bit to get back in the batter's box. He was talking to you earlier tonight about it and how he hurt himself. I think a lot of fans think he hurt it throwing a pitch. That really wasn't the case.
No, you know, I asked him about that because it was a check swing. It was a big moment. It was against the Giants in the opening series. As we see a strikeout here, Pettitte struck out with the bases loaded that night and then got bombed the last time he was on the mound. But he said, you know what? No more check swings. I'm just going to take big hacks and avoid that sort of thing.
There you go.
When you see Andy Pettitte, and even when he was with the Yankees coming out of spring training, it was always slow for him because of the cutter that he throws. It's very difficult on his arm. It's tough on the forearm, and that causes that elbow issue every single year for him. He's always started out a little bit slow, but we've always seen the real Andy Pettitte once we've gotten into the season, and especially when we get into the postseason. I don't think this is a big issue for Andy Pettitte. I just think it's a normal issue and a normal situation for him.
Lamb gets moved off the plate by Morris, who came in on the belt. Mike Lamb 0-for-1. He's grounded out to short. It's got to be frustrating, though, very frustrating for Andy. Even though the Astros have had stretches where they played very well, it was all the buildup in the offseason of Andy Pettitte leaving the Yankees. He's coming to Houston. He's coming home.
But as a manager and as a general manager, you have got to guard against letting Andy use all of that height and get back out there too early, because the worst thing that can happen is for him to get back out there too early, re-injure the thing, and then have to be on the shelf for another 2 weeks. What you want to do right now, it's April. Take your time, make sure he's ready to pitch, make sure he's pitching in good conditions, because you know you're going to have this guy down the line in August and September.
Swinging a high fly by Lamb to deep right, backing up Sanders, and he's leaping at the wall. He can't get it. It's gone. Or is it? It's on the top of the fence. Not ruled a home run. Into third base, Mike Lamb. He pulls up there. He thought he had hit it out of the ballpark. It ricocheted back onto the field, and here comes Jimmy Williams.
Now, how is that not a home run?
That's what Jimmy wants to know. Exactly what he wants to know. Why isn't that gone? It looked like it left the park, at least initially. Sanders says no, though. Now look at the bullpen catcher in the Astro bullpen. He said definitely it's gone.
If that ball bounces that high, there's nothing else out there that ball can hit that's in play that's going to make it bounce that high. That ball's a home run.
Ruled a double, at least initially.
They better re-rule it.
Well, the umpires are going to get together. Fletcher, Welke, Reynolds, and Cedarstrom. And they're going to rule it a home run. It is gone. So Lamb can come the rest of the way. The extra 90 feet, it's a home run. And the Astros are on the scoreboard. It certainly looked gone to me initially. Now Tony La Russa comes out. And he's going to have a word here with the crew chief, Tim Welke. Let's take another look, see if we can catch the flight of the ball.
Well, you can see the concrete in the background. That's what it hits. That ball is well over the fence.
Over the yellow line.
There's no way that if the ball hits anywhere around the yellow line, all of that wall is padded. There's nothing that's going to make that ball bounce like that unless it's out of the ballpark. It definitely hit the concrete in the back, and that is a home run.
It certainly cleared the yellow line as Sanders went all the way back to the fence. Now there's a Cowboy in charge. I think he was putting his teeth back in.
You can clearly see that ball hit the concrete.
That may have actually knocked that gentleman's teeth out. It didn't quite hit him, but he's all set. La Russa got his explanation. He's fine. And Lamb is safely in the dugout with a homer. And over that yellow line, that means a home run. So it's 8-1.
You know, in that shot there, as that ball bounced back into fair play, the person that we saw running across in front of Reggie Sanders was Jim Edmonds. Came all the way across. You never assume that the ball is out of the ballpark. He's still coming across, because if they do rule that as a triple, that's only a triple because of where Jim Edmonds was when the ball bounced back onto the field.
In there for strike on Ausmus, who singled in the third inning. He's 1 for 1. He doesn't like the call. And has a word with Andy Fletcher. I think that's the mark where the baseball struck.
Right there.
Yep. He's saying, yeah, Mike Lamb really took a bite out of that pitch. And Morris gets a foul ball off the bat of Ausmus. Two down, the base is empty. It is 8-1 St. Louis. That, by the way, only the third ball hit out of the infield by the Astros tonight. Twice a foul out of play.
Well, Matt Morris during that whole AB was trying to pitch Lamb inside to keep him from flipping the ball into left field. Lamb really likes to drive the ball the other way.
Lunging ground ball. We've seen a lot of swings like that. Rolen right on target. Mike Lamb finally gets a chance to complete his home run trot, and it is 8-1.
Dave Rebs and Rob Dibble in the studio. Tino Martinez doing some damage here for the D-Rays dips.
Tino, the former Bambino, going deep for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Lou Piniella, very loyal with guys that used to play for him.
They're on top 7-0.
Baseball's flying out of parks from coast to coast tonight, and here in Houston, Texas, we've had 5 home runs in this game. No surprise, it's Minute Maid Park. It's made for hitters and made for Matt Morris. He is 1 for 2 with an RBI. He punched a single through in the second inning. That brought in Reggie Sanders. Reggie Sanders, however, has homered. So is Scott Rolen, Ray Lankford, and Marlon Anderson. And for Houston, a disputed home run by Mike Lamb. A base hit for Mike Matheny. Now, Gary, I know you've made your way out there to see that mark where that home run landed, right? Mike Lamb's hit.
Dave, we're going to give you indisputable evidence. I don't know if you can pick it up on that camera all the way over here, but you can see the seam mark next to this bird dropping. That's what I thought it was at first. But these guys all told me, I mean, it bounced 30 feet in the air. Unfortunately, we scared the toothless cowboy off. He didn't want to be on TV. So the man who was sitting right here that you showed, he says, no, thanks. I'll come back when you're gone.
Line shot into right, and Hidalgo comes on to spear it off one bounce. A single for Morris, who continues to swing the bat. He is terrific so far tonight. Marlon Anderson with another hit. So Anderson has 2 hits. Matt Morris has 2 hits. So does Reggie Sanders, Edgar Renteria, and Scott Rolen.
You know, the thing about this is if I'm standing out there on the mound, I don't care if I'm a young guy or I'm a veteran guy. If I'm getting hammered like this, I'm going to start getting the ball inside a little bit. You know, I'm not going to just sit back and just let him just hammer me.
Well, a dozen hits already for St. Louis. Ray Lankford hit his out of the ballpark in the first inning. Well, by the way, you were a great fan of the Toothless Cowboy, weren't you? Growing up as a kid, it was a great Saturday afternoon show, variety program.
Thought that was the Rifleman.
2 on, nobody out. 8-1 St. Louis. And that one moving off the corner. Tim Redding started, went 3 2/3 innings. He was knocked off the hill under a slew of home runs by the Cardinals. He came in the #2 hitting team in the National League, 2nd in homers. Popped up on the infield by Lankford. And Adam Everett backpedals to make the play. That's the first down in the inning. Let's go to the studio. And Dave Revson, Rob Dibble.
Okay, Dave, thanks a lot. The Brewers continuing to do damage against Randy Johnson and the D-backs, and it's a former guy doing some damage here.
Junior Spivey, former Diamondback, the 6-for-3 trade for Richie Sexton and some others.
Not really paying off. Brewers on top 2-0, guys.
So the unit's shaken up a little bit early. And here's Albert Pujols. He has doubled and grounded out twice. 1 for 3 on the night. He hit a home run last night. So 6 home runs for Albert, the 2003 National League batting champ. Also in last night's game, he made a couple of terrific plays over at first base. Continues to hit with power, but he just never strikes out. In fact, he struck out in his very first at bat of the year, JP, and he has not whiffed since. So that's what 68 consecutive plate appearances, which is the longest stretch in the big leagues right now for this season, without striking out. That's the amazing thing to me about Pujols. The fact that he can hit about 350, 360. Seemingly every year he's going to hit 330 or better. He pops this one up. Bagwell giving chase. Long run. Lunges and misses it. Did not make the play. A tough play and a lengthy run for the veteran Bagwell.
Well, it's very difficult to try to judge that ball as it spins back towards the seats, and you're running full speed trying to get to the ball at the same time and just hoping that you can get your glove out there and try to make some type of lunge at it.
We're talking about Albert Pujols. 212 hits last year, winning the batting title. That's as many as Ichiro Suzuki had with Seattle. But Pujols actually struck out 4 fewer times than Ichiro did, and he hit 30 more home runs.
The thing about Pujols, I think that he has great balance at the plate anyway. He's got a tremendous amount of power, and I think in his own mind, he allows himself to wait just a split second longer than normal hitters do, and just that split second allows him to recognize the ball a lot better. But he's confident that he can get to it. He doesn't have to cheat.
It almost never strikes out. He has that great eye that umpires also respect. I guess a lot of umpires are coming to believe, even though Pujols is still very young, that if he doesn't swing at it, it's not a strike.
I don't know if that's necessarily true now, but that is what we see.
Umpires do give him the close call.
They do give him the close calls.
Whether it's a strike or not, he seems to be getting more the benefit of the doubt. The runners go, and that's outside for ball 4. So the bases are going to be loaded up here for St. Louis. And of course, Pujols, with all those great numbers, still can't win the MVP because Barry Bonds keeps winning them. And later tonight, the Major League doubleheader continues on ESPN2 at 10. Barry Bonds and his Giants take on the San Diego Padres. Some may see Texas Anaheim. Bonds has hit a home run in 7 consecutive games. Can he make it 8 in a row? And if he does, he ties the Major League record for consecutive games with a home run.
You were talking about guys with good eyes. Bonds is also another one that's got that absolute eagle eye at the plate.
Who has ever had a better batting eye than Barry Bonds?
I don't know of anybody. I played with him, and he just seems to see the ball and talk about what the ball's doing, and you think, how did you see that? How do you know that?
Well, he just has an otherworld level of patience.
Well, I can remember playing with Will Clark when he was in San Francisco, and I always thought that he had a tremendous batting eye because he could tell you things about the ball that you didn't hear other hitters talking about. But yet you see Barry, and he's talking about basically the same types of things, and he's hitting the ball 500 feet every time.
Filed away by Edmonds. And those of you who remember Will Clark, I mean, he was an outstanding hitter. He was a great college player. He was a really first-rate first baseman defensively. And he could rake. But we're talking about a different kind of raking with Barry Bonds. Well, this is a different level of hitter.
When you see Barry Bonds stand at the plate, immediately you think, all right, I just want to keep him in the ballpark. And to keep him in the ballpark, you're thinking, well, maybe I should pitch him away, try to change speeds a little bit. That's what he loves. He can take that ball and hit it straight out of left field. And now that he's being able to hit the ball that's inside, he's even that much better of a hitter.
You look at the top 4 home run hitters of all time. Bonds, of course, already gone by. It's gone by to Willie Mays by 7, creeping up on Babe Ruth. And then there's Hank Aaron off in the distance at 7:55, but suddenly not that far in the distance.
And I think that sometimes we take this for granted a little bit about the accomplishments that Bonds has put together. But let's face it, I mean, wouldn't we love to be able to say that we saw a Babe Ruth play, or could go back and see that Willie Mays make the catches that he made, and watch Hank Aaron hitting the home runs that he did. These are things that we take for granted now, and 20 or 30 years from now, we're going to be able to say we were around watching Barry Bonds catch Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth.
I guess the great question of the day is that all we're going to say about the Barry Bonds era? Swinging a high fly deep to left. This one's sailing, headed for those boxes and gone. It's a grand slam for Jim Edmonds, his 3rd home run of the year. And the Cardinals are turning this one into a full-fledged laugher in Houston, Texas. 5 home runs by the Cardinals already tonight, and we're in the 6th inning. 12-1 St. Louis.
Watch this ball. It starts middle in and runs out over the plate. Edmonds is just looking, keeps his head right on it. He doesn't even hit this ball that good and still gets it out of the ballpark. But what that goes back to is you allow guys to dive out over the plate because you continue to throw the ball away. Well, yeah, they're going to dive out there, and they're going to hit the ball on the fat part of the bat. Matt Morris tonight, we've seen him pitch inside time and time again, and he's had a lead 6, 7, 8 runs.
Well, I think the St. Louis Cardinals have firmly established they can hit home runs. Matt Morris has kept Houston in the ballpark. That's been the other part of their story. They've been giving up more home runs on the pitcher's mound than any other staff. But tonight, hitting 5 home runs. There's a shot, hooking down into the left field corner, hit wickedly but foul by Scott Rolen. He was going for his 2nd home run of the game.
I think that's part of what Roger Clemens is going to bring to this staff as we move deeper into the season, is talking to some of these younger pitchers about learning the art of pitching on the inside part of the plate, or at least getting the ball in on hitters' hands. You cannot just sit there and throw the ball away, breaking ball away, change up away. You've got to get the ball in.
Everybody on the bench was thinking that's gone because everything they've been hitting tonight has been leaving the park. That one was out, but it was foul. Foul again by Rolen.
The thing about it is, if you're standing, if you've got the ball and you're on the pitcher's mound, regardless of what the score is, you're not out there to throw batting practice. I don't care if it's 12-1 or if it's 2-1. You're out there to get hitters out, and you've got to pitch accordingly. You can't just sit there and throw the ball away. You've got to get the ball inside, at least make the hitter retreat sometime.
Deep drive right field. This one has a chance headed for the corner. It's going to fall short and up against the fence. Rolen heading into second base. He's got himself a double. He also has a home run and a single tonight. So the triple short of the cycle. You're talking about Reggie Sanders earlier. He's halfway to the cycle, too. Jimmy Williams thinking double switch as he visits the home plate umpire, Andy Fletcher. The hits just keep on coming. That's 14 now for St. Louis. They lead at 12-1 behind Matt Morris. We'll be back in Houston in a moment. Offensive attack for the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. 12 runs on 14 hits. 5 home runs they've hit. Edgar Renteria chipping in with a pair of singles. So now they lead the majors with 34 home runs. They've also given up 24, which is the most in the big leagues. I don't know if you can win yourself a pennant, but you can have nights like tonight, and a lot of nights like tonight. If you swing the bat like that, it's giving them up that's been the problem. Orlando Palmeiro takes over in right field for Hidalgo as part of the double switch, and Brandon Backey is the right-hander, a 26-year-old. He's from Galveston, Texas, so he's a native Texan. 450 earned run average, pitching in his 6th game. A weak swing by Renteria, right to Everett, in plenty of time. Rolen, who is 3 for 4 tonight, holding at second base, but he is on fire with the bat.
Well, this has been the story of the Astros all night long. Pitching away, throwing breaking balls away, pitching away. You can't be scared of that left field wall, and you can't sit there and throw hitters outside all night long, because they're going to start leaning out over the plate and absolutely hammering you, and that's what the Cardinals have done to the Astros pitching tonight. You've got to get the ball inside, and you've got to make them respect you on the mound. The only way you can do that is get that ball up under their hands.
Better not get it up to Reggie Sanders in the strike zone, place where he can hit it, because he's crushed them tonight with a double and a 3-run homer, hitting .345. Reggie hit .285 with 31 homers and 87 RBIs for the Pirates last year. Since the start of '98, he's played for the Reds, the Padres, Atlanta, Arizona, won a World Series with them in 2001 over the Yankees, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, and now St. Louis. That's 7 clubs in 7 years for Reggie. Swings right through that pitch.
Reggie Sanders, just seeing him in the locker room without his shirt off, you think this guy's 25 years old. I mean, I bet he doesn't have 5% body fat. He's still got a 6-pack on his abs. I mean, he works so hard, keeping himself in good shape, and that's why he's been able to continue to play in all these different places. The guy can still run, he can still hit, and he can still throw. He's still a 5'2" guy, and he's 30-something years old.
He's 37 in December, 36 right now as he pops that one up. And it's out of play. Go back to his home run, and what a swing in the 4th inning. He said the longest home run he's ever hit.
Nice little hop. That ball's off the railroad tracks in the top of the stadium. My goodness.
He told our cameraman Steve Lowe that's the longest home run he's hit in the majors. How about that?
That was a bomb. It looked good, too, because it was up high.
Yes, it was a majestic blast.
It was majestic. Thank you.
Runner at second, it's Scott Rolen. So this could be the battle tonight to see if either one of these guys hits for the cycle and who gets there first. Because Rolen already has the homer, the single, and the double, the tough one to get.
Now, has there ever been 2 guys in the same game hit for the cycle?
Oh, now you're thinking. Now you're asking the question on all of our lists. Have 2 men
ever
in Major League history ever hit for the cycle
in the same game?
In the same game.
That's what I want to know.
We're going to find that out. We're going to find out the answer to that question before we leave here. Sanders swings and misses for strike 3, so he cannot advance his cause, but Rolen certainly does with his 3rd hit. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One, and tonight inside Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, the Cardinals are having a great old time with a 12-1 lead over the Houston Astros. 5 home runs for the men backing up Matt Morris. The other story, though, is Morris has been fantastic, and he may be an all-star. The all-star ballots have been distributed here in Houston. Fans are voting away. They probably don't like a lot of what they've seen from their team other than Mike Lamb, who has homered. The all-star game coming here this summer. Of course, Home Run Derby on ESPN, always a huge hit. Literally and figuratively. That one flying down the left field line. Lankford won't be able to reach it. But I think Matt Morris is pitching a terrific game. He's pitching as if it's 1-0.
That's how
instead
you're
of 12-1.
That's how you're supposed to approach the game, regardless of what the score is. You're pitching against the batter, not against the score of the game. And I said this earlier in the ball game, and I'm going to say it again. I think this is as good as I've seen Matt Morris look in probably 2 years.
He did not beat the Astros at all last year, went 0 for 3 against them. Into the alley, Edmonds on the run. The Gold Glover tracks it down. He makes a fine basket catch. Let's go to the studio and Dave Rebster. Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Here with Rob Dibble. The Phillies finally doing some damage against that stingy Marlins pitching here, Dibs.
Well, they haven't been able to hit it out of the park too often here, so Jim Thome says instead of trying to pull it or hit it to center, I'll just go the opposite way with it.
It is 5-1 now. Phillies on top, bottom of the 6th over Florida.
So from one outstanding baseball park, and this is, 4 years old now, we got a look there at the new home of the Philadelphia Phillies. Jim Thome apparently liking a lot Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. That'll be fun to get into. Natural grass in Philadelphia.
That stadium actually sits down under where the normal street level is. There is probably over half of the seats are below street level.
I love that look because Camden Yards is the same thing. Biggio with a trickler. Anderson flings it over for the second out. Camden Yards also sunk it in. And in fact, in center field at Camden Yards, did you know that's where Babe Ruth was born? There used to be a row house out there. That's where the Babe was born.
I did not know that, but I do now.
Another place we're looking forward to getting back to because the Orioles have put together a very exciting ball club.
Definitely scored some runs.
Man, do they score runs. Javi Lopez off to a wonderful start. Last I checked, I think he was leading the American League at 460-something. Tearing the cover off it, Miguel Tejada, Rafael Palmeiro. That is a brutal lineup in Baltimore.
And you see Matt Morris, he's not changing anything that he's doing because of that left field wall. 315 down the left field wall. All he's doing is continuing to change speeds and throw his breaking ball for strikes, and he's not intimidated at all by this ballpark. And I would assume that as a young pitcher, which there are a lot of young pitchers on this Houston staff, that they may be intimidated a little bit by the wall, the fact that it's so short out there. But you can't pitch to the wall. You have to pitch to the batter, and that's what this game is about. If you start worrying about everything else that's going on around you and forget about the guy standing at the plate, it's going to be 12-1.
Adam Everett swings high fly ball, well struck left center. Edmonds over there with Lankford, but Edmonds drops the ball. Maybe some miscommunication as far as who would take it. Edmonds mishandled it going down low. Maybe lost it up there. I think he did. Either in the lights or in the sky. It is right at dusk here in Houston. The game started at 6 o'clock local time. It is now 8 o'clock here. It's just about the time you see stuff like this happen.
I don't think we see this hardly ever. I think Jim Edmonds thought that Ray Lankford was going to take that ball, and he was getting in the backup position, and I think that Ray thought that Jim was going to take it.
Bagwell taking a rip and fouling it away.
I can tell you this, I don't know that I've ever seen Edmonds drop a ball that hit him in the glove.
Yeah.
Whether he was diving, climbing a wall, or whatever. But you can look at his face, you know he's not happy about that.
An error on the Gold Glover. So Bagwell swings, and he knocks this one out of the ballpark. Look at this one fly. Jeff Bagwell with his 5th home run of the season. Now remember, Everett would have been the 3rd out had Edmonds caught that fly ball. He dropped it. That allowed Bagwell to get up and hit a screamer out of here. That is the 7th home run hit by these two clubs combined tonight.
This looks like a breaking ball that just stays on the inside part of the plate, and Bagwell absolutely crushes it.
Morris probably half thinking I ought to be out of the inning. And here's Kent taking a strike. Jeff Kent 0 for 2. So Bagwell giving the crowd here in Houston a little bit of reason to cheer finally as he blisters a home run. He started the night a .360 career hitter off Matt Morris, so he does see him well. It's his 4th home run off Morris in his career. So it's 12-3 St. Louis. And unlike one of the earlier home runs, there was no dispute on this one. Now here's the error.
Well, I still think that was a miscommunication with Ray Lankford out there in left field and Edmonds in center field. Lankford has not been out there much because he's been injured. And I think you could see Jim talking to him. I thought you were going to take that ball. I guarantee you that's what they were talking about.
Didn't look like it if you're a lip reader. So I thought you were going to take that one. And Bagwell able to hit after the error. He came up to bat, and bat he did. So Mike Lamb and Jeff Bagwell have homered tonight. Edmonds' teammates around him have hit 5 home runs. He is still unhappy. Still pacing out there. After his E8. That's a sharp single between third and short. And a base hit for Kent. Now some miscommunication out there in left center field. We'll give you another look at it.
You can see Ray Lankford start over, and then he just turns to Jim Edmonds. Jim Edmonds has got his eye on the ball the whole time, but I still think that he thought that Lankford was going to take that ball.
And yet, on that replay, it looked like he had it lined up, and he was just waiting for the ball to arrive. It didn't look like he was anticipating that Lankford was going to jump in front of him and snatch it. It's a very, very strange play. Well, especially as you point out with a Gold Glove rub.
It's strange because you never see Edmonds drop the ball, regardless of how he tries to catch it.
So because of the error in center field and the batters that have followed, more extra pitches from Matt Morris, who had been cruising along until this inning.
And I really don't know how long that you can let Morris go in this ballgame, especially with a score the way that it is. At some point, you've got to go to the bullpen and give Morris credit for the way that he's pitched tonight.
Berkman tonight is flying to left and struck out. Back on April 11th against Milwaukee, Berkman belted his first career grand slam as a right-handed hitter. The switch batter. Lefty is his favorite side. Much weaker on the other side of the plate. But Jeff Bagwell said, hey, if Phil Mickelson, who was 0 for 42 in major golf tournaments, if Mickelson can win a major and Lance Berkman can hit a grand slam right-handed, then we have a chance to win the World Series. The Astros are 0 for 7 all-time in playoff series. Back toward the hill, Morris finally gets that third out. Edmonds with the error in center. Bagwell's home run right after that went 390.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Bank One. Bank One, where you get individual answers. Find the credit card that fits you best. And in part by Coors Light. Unleash the Rocky Mountain cold taste of Coors Light.
Through 6 innings on this Wednesday night, there have been 7 home runs hit between the two clubs. The Cardinals have hit 5 of them. The line shot caught out of the air by Kent. Mike Matheny is retired. Now let's go back to the end of the inning and a little communication between Lankford and Edmonds. Edmonds, of course, charged with an error, dropping a fly. And he apparently said, at least if we were reading his lips correctly, that he thought Lankford was going to catch it.
Well, and he said, well, that's what happens when we're not communicating. You could read that off of his lips. And I think that Edmonds really did think that Lankford was going to continue to move towards that baseball, and he didn't. And Jim, at the last minute, throws his glove out there. Well, it's too late. And when you're a Gold Glove center fielder, those are the things that they irritate the fool out of you, because you know that that's a play that should be made. A fly ball that's a lazy fly out into the outfield. Somebody's got to catch that.
Kind of like that phrase, by the way, as Colin Porter, who was just called up yesterday from AAA Memphis, he's going to step in and bat for Matt Morris. So the St. Louis Ace is done for the night. We'll see if this one is in hand. Jason Simon-Tachi was sent out back to the minors. There's a line shot toward the alley, and that's going to fall in for a hit. So Porter, just brought up from the minor leagues, is teeing off on big league pitching. Let's go to the studio and Dave Revson.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. Here with Rob Dibble. It's Atlanta and Cincinnati tied at 2 in the 6th. They are tied, no longer, Dibs.
Well, opposite way seems to be the theme of the night. It's the third opposite field home run for a left-hander tonight. Sean Casey going the other way.
Just the second homer Braves pitching has given up in the last 8 games. Reds on top 3-2.
Well, now there's a stat. I thought everyone was believing that Atlanta's pitching staff would start to come back to the pack. You know, the losses over the last couple of years, Glavine and Maddox and whatnot, and all of a sudden they're not giving up anything.
Well, with Ramirez and Ortiz, Hampton, they've still got the makings of a good staff. As long as they can continue to get that ball to John Smoltz and cover the 7th and the 8th inning, they'll be all right.
About to say, you know, you can give that ball to the horse in that bullpen, and he's throwing 92-mile-an-hour splitters. Morris getting handshakes from Albert Pujols and his teammates after 6 innings, 92 pitches.
And I think that's what you do with Matt Morris right now. You keep him under that 100-pitch mark, let him get out there and work quick and get himself into the ball game. That way you can keep him healthy a lot longer than having him out there struggling in a situation like we just saw in that last inning, having to make pitches that he didn't need to be making.
And he did have some injury issues last year with an ankle. Suffered doing some hotel roughhousing with teammates rather foolishly a year ago, but also had a shot back to the mound that hit him on the hand. Yank foul off the bat of Marlon Anderson. A good night for him. He's 2 for 4 with a home run and a base hit.
So what do you mean by roughhousing? You mean they were wrestling in the room?
That's it. Kind of stuff
that's not illegal in the contract.
No, I guess not. Yeah, basketball, skiing, motocross. Yeah,
that's all that's in there. No, you can't do any of that. They might as well just put no fun.
Not quite go that far. 2-2. Cut on and miss. Anderson whips, and there are 2 down. Now let's go to Gary Miller. We're talking about that long home run by Reggie Sanders, and I think you've got the baseball, Gary.
Right here, baby. The longest home run he ever hit. Our esteemed conductor here said it's, you know, we think it's the first time anyone's hit it. It hit a few feet below me here. A-Rod has hit one up here. Bagwell's been up here. There's been over a dozen of them hit up here, so it's not that rare. But, you know, Reggie's never hit one that far, so he's kind enough to get it back to him for significant home runs. In fact, Ron Gantz's 300th home run came up here.
Little fly to center. Biggio coming over, and Palmero as well. They only miscommunicated. But the catch made. We'll see if Reggie Sanders gets that baseball from Gary Miller. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One. St. Louis really crushing the ball tonight. A 12-3 lead over the Houston Astros as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Colin Porter remains in the game after knocking a hit to right. He takes over in left field for Ray Lankford. And Morgan Ensberg is going to get in there and swing. And swing he does, driving it foul down into the left field corner. Getting his first at bat tonight. After belting 25 home runs last year, he's trying to hit his first of the year tonight. Cal Eldred appearing in his 4th game. Ensberg had a very good year for Jimmy Williams last season. He's out of the University of Southern California, where he's an All-American. In fact, number 3 on USC's all-time home run list, behind Mark McGwire and Jeff Jenkins. Trying to hit his first long fly of 2004, and he takes outside.
Well, I think that they've got the makings of quite a spectacular young left side of their infield. And I know that Ensberg is struggling a little bit offensively right now, but I believe the kid is going to hit, and I know he can catch the ball at third base.
Didn't mean to there. Trickled back to Eldred, who fires on to get him. 1 gone. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Incidentally, Boys and Girls Club is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Together, they create a positive place for kids. Great to have you along on a Wednesday night. Beautiful evening in Houston, Texas. Not so much for the Astros, though. Mike Lamb's had a pretty good night. He homered his last at bat. He's gone 1 for 2. That was a disputed home run. Initially, it was not ruled a home run as he lines a foul. He knocked it to deep right center field near the angle of the bullpen. And you see that spot, that white spot right there? That's where it landed and chipped the paint. But the umpires didn't see that, and it was initially ruled a triple. Swing and a miss, and he's down on strikes, but Matheny will have to complete it, and does, by firing on to first. So 2 down. Let's go to the studio for an update. Here's Dave Redford.
All right, Dave, a couple games to update you. I'm going to start you off with the Yankees and the White Sox. This one's scoreless until Carlos Lee comes for dibs.
We always talk about Magglio Ordonez or Frank Thomas or somebody else, but this guy had 31 home runs in the White Sox Juni last year, remember?
They lead at 1-0. Arizona coming back on the Brewers. Had been down 2-zip. It's 2-1 here. Danny Batista with a 3-run shot, though. It's 4-2 Diamondbacks.
And Batista launched that one. We've had 7 home runs in this game tonight at Minute Maid Park. Brad Ausmus with the bases empty. He's gone 1 for 2. 2 down in the bottom of the 7th inning. Cal Eldred fires in a strike. So Morris went the first 6, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits. In line for the win, which would improve Matt Morris to 3-1.
But only one of those runs was earned.
That's right. There was the drop fly by Edmonds in center field. Moments later, Bagwell hit a 398-foot home run.
And actually, had that ball not been dropped, that would have been the 3rd out of the inning. I think Morris may still be in this ballgame.
I think you're right. No reason to take him out. Let him go 1 more anyway. Ground ball fair. No way Rolen can reach this one. It rolls softly up against the fence. It'll be a double for Austin. Perfectly spotted on that swing right inside the bag. Now, Cardinal pitching, Tony La Russa knows, has been an issue. Starters, 14th in the National League in ERA coming into tonight. The bullpen, 13th in the league, and even higher at 5.86. So when you have Matt Morris on the mound and a great big lead, certainly helps.
Well, Morris looked good from the beginning of this ball game, pitching very well, changing speeds well. And the thing that I noticed the most about Matt Morris is that he was working quick and his velocity was up. He was throwing the ball 91, 92 miles an hour. That's the Matt Morris I remember.
Palmeiro, the hitter, with a runner at second and 2 away. Ausmus having doubled. And if we get that far, Craig Biggio will hit. He has yet to get a hit tonight, but he's off to a very good start, hitting .353 coming into the game. Both he and Jeff Bagwell, the war horses of this Houston Astros organization. And everybody in town is hoping these guys can not only get back to the playoffs. This team was built not only to go, but to win in the playoffs. But they would love to see them go to a World Series finally. Bagwell has never been. Biggio now in his 17th season. He's never been. Never won a playoff series.
Well, there's no reason that they can't hope that they have that opportunity this year.
In there for a strike. Well, they're both of them terrific gentlemen, and they are revered in the city of Houston for all they've done here, staying with this franchise through thick and thin.
If Dotel can somehow cover the closer's role, this close is going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to have an opportunity to live that dream.
Looping liner, and that's a base hit into right field. Ausmus rounding third. He's going to score. No throw to the plate. The run is in. That makes it 12-4. Palmeiro with an RBI single to chase in Brad Ausmus.
This is the changes that we were talking about with Craig Biggio. As you see him really getting that leg up, almost up to his hip. Now, if you're going to get your leg up that high, it's going to kill your balance. And now what he's doing, he's keeping his foot close to the ground, and that's helped him with his balance and helping him making a lot better contact. And what he's doing is he's cutting down on strikeouts. He's cutting down on balls that he pops up into the infield or short fly balls, and it's allowed him to have a lot better production right off the bat out of spring training this year than what he's had in the last couple of years.
Checks his swing on strike one. He's 0 for 3 in the contest. Talking about how he and Bagwell are almost connected at the hip in the minds of Astros fans. Well, the two of them have season tickets at the 50-yard line of Reliant Stadium here in Houston for the NFL's Houston Texans. Big football fans, both of them. In fact, Craig has a couple of boys who go all the time with them. Pops that one into right field. Here comes Sanders. Is he going to get there? He will. He makes the catch. Biggio says they can root for anybody they want, but just not the Dallas Cowboys. Lewis leading by 8 as we take a look at who's living the Sears good life. And how about this guy, Reggie Sanders, with a home run up on top of the train tracks. I'd say that's the good life. He told us the longest home run he believes he's ever hit in the majors. Reggie Sanders with home run number 6. Morgan Esberg taking over at third base, and Mike Lamb moving from third to first. So Jimmy Williams moving some pieces around here, and also has a new pitcher on the hill in Chad Harville.
Well, Harville came over from the Oakland A's, and this kid has a tremendous arm. It's just a matter of harnessing that arm so that he's able to go out and pitch the way that he's supposed to. Injuries are what has held him back to this point, but this kid can absolutely rear back and let it fly.
And not a big guy either. He's only about 5'9".
You don't have to do that.
You and Billy Wagner. Billy Wagner. You.
Don't compare me to Billy Wagner. He's much better than I am.
Well, he's throwing 100 miles an hour there for Philadelphia.
But I will say this about this cat on the mound, Harville. He can bring it.
Well, he's got to bring it to Pujols, who chops that one to Ensberg. Low throw, but dug out over there by Lamb. So the new corner men do good work. One man out. You know, you were a fine closer, fine reliever. 1995, the division series, as the Reds stun the Dodgers. Little bit of emotion there. Almost Tug McGraw-like. Not for Tommy Lasorda.
Well, there is nothing like being out there when you have an opportunity to clinch a division and get to the playoffs and have an opportunity to do something like that. The emotion just kind of flows. You get the old fist pump and get happy. And you know, a lot of players back then, they took a little offense to the fist pump, like I was trying to show them up or something like that.
Did you hear that from a few guys?
I heard that from a few guys. And the thing about it is, when you come from where I come from, I'm happy to get a save every single day I'm out there. I'm actually excited. So if they didn't like the fist pump, tough break.
Too bad, yeah.
Don't let me hear you say it.
Nothing wrong with a little celebration in a big game like that. Playoffs, man. High fly, deep left field. Off the bat of Edmonds. Did he get enough? And deep. And was that catch made? Indeed. Well, let's see. Yes, it was made. How about Berkman? Underneath the overhang almost. Edmonds having a tough night. He's committed an error in center field. And now he's robbed of a hit. Look at this play.
That's back, and you talk about the curves and the edges of this ballpark. That's almost at a spot where you can't even find the guy, and he makes a great catch, facing the wall with his back to the plate.
I mean, 3/4 of him disappeared from view, at least where we're seated. He was tucked underneath there and up against the wall almost. An outstanding play, and a very difficult play by Lance Berkman. Certainly not routine. You can't practice that.
No. But the way Chad Harville's throwing and the way that Brandon Backey threw, I think we're going to see a little bit more of those guys because they're having some success out there. And you know Jimmy Williams, he's not going to be putting up with these 12 runs and all these home runs. Can't afford it, not, especially against a Central Division foe.
Cody McKay is a pinch hitter, 0 for 3. And getting an at-bat here for Scott Rolen. So there will be no cycle tonight for Scotty Rolen. He winds up 3 for 4, a homer, single, and a double. Side retired in 1-2-3 fashion. It remains 12-4 as St. Louis with a command.
Dave Rebson, Rob Dibble back in the studio, and after the Phillies have taken the lead against the Marlins, back comes Florida Michael Lowell, his second of the night. That makes it a 5-5 game, and they're not done, Dibs.
All this with 2 outs this rally after David Bell made an error to keep the inning alive.
Will Cordero going deep right there. So back-to-back homers. It's now a 6-5 Marlins lead as they play in the top of the 7th, guys.
Play some great games, and they're coming up on day game as well tomorrow. 12-4. St. Louis with the lead. How about 15 hits for the Cardinals? And time for Tony La Russa to make some spring training kind of changes. So Taguchi taking over in right field. Cody McKay, his dad Dave McKay is the first base coach for this team. He'll be playing third base, taking over for Rolen. And Julian Tavares is the new right-hander. He takes over on the mound. This will be his 7th appearance of the season. And Adam Everett takes a strike. Everett on the night is 0 for 3. Now Everett with that good glove but no bat label, at least early in his career, that got him demoted twice to the minors when he had gotten to the big leagues. Then last spring at AAA New Orleans, the hitting coach there, former major leaguer Gary Gaetti, he told Everett in the first conversation they ever had, he said, unless you change some things, you're not going to be a major league hitter. And that really hit Everett like a ton of bricks. And he had to confront the fact that maybe his career would be ending before it ever began. And he said that he and Gaetti worked diligently to change a bunch of things about his stance. He said, we changed that. He said, he changed my approach. He taught me to use my hands to feel the bat. I thought it was very interesting.
Well, every big leaguer has got to make adjustments. We talk about Bagwell and Biggio making adjustments. That's how you stay up here. That's how you become successful.
They overhauled his swing.
If you come to the big leagues and you think, well, I'm just going to do what I've done my whole life, guess what? You ain't going to make it long.
Gaetti said that he was trying to please too many people, that everybody he talked to had an opinion on what he should be doing as a hitter.
Sounds like Pat Burrell from last year.
Exactly right.
Everybody in the world had some solution for it.
And he said he was not giving himself a chance to do the things that he had done to get into the major leagues. He takes low ball 4. Let's go to the studio. Here's Dave Revson.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. We start you off with the Braves and the Reds in a 4-3 ball game, and there it goes, Dibs.
Remember that ball that Eddie Perez gave to Sean Casey a little while ago? That was 2 home runs ago, Rever.
It is 5-4 right now after the Casey homer. And how about A-Rod? His first homer, his first RBI in 11 games. Comes in an opportune time. A solo shot ties it up against the White Sox.
He's starting to get revved up, isn't he? Finally.
Well, part of A-Rod's game is that he turns it up for bigger ball games, and I think that he's going to be highly successful in New York. Every major leaguer, when you try too hard, takes you out of your game. And I know that's part of you see it every time getting seen guys coming in to play for the Yankees. We saw it with Giambi, we've seen it with other players, and we've seen it with A-Rod in the beginning of this season. He's going to be fine, and he's going to be swinging the bat. Just wait till he gets hot.
Well, he wasn't hot against the Red Sox. He went 1 for 17 in that series at Fenway Park. In his first at bat yesterday, he laid down a bunt, beat it out. They didn't even bother to swing the bat there. That's a strike on Vizcaíno, who is batting for Bagwell. So the benches are starting to get some playing time late in this one. St. Louis ahead 12-4. In the ballpark, they will be hosting the 2004 All-Star game. Fastball dipping low. The Astros certainly hope to be well represented.
I can't imagine a better feeling than being on the All-Star team and playing in your home ballpark.
Outside for ball 4. Well, how about playing in your home city, which would be the case for Roger Clemens, who's 3-0, and the Rocket talked about the All-Star game to come earlier tonight.
The new surroundings that we have and the huge events we've had over the last few months here, it's really caused great excitement here for our city of Houston, and so it's going to be a fun time. They're going to do it right. They'll do it the big way like we always try and do here in Texas, and I'm just real happy that it's coming through here once again and rewarding some of the guys. And like I said earlier, you know, I hope to see Bags and Bidge, who've been really cornerstones for this organization. I hope they have a chance to participate in that game.
Well, that was awfully classy by the Rocket to talk about Biggio and Bagwell, but I think Roger Clemens is headed that way the way he's pitching. It'd be a great thrill for him because he is a Texan by adoption. He's actually born in Ohio, but everyone thinks of him as a Texan. 3-0 with a .087 earned run average, and that guy's retired, right?
Yeah. so they said.
Not anymore.
I still think that he would have been retired had they made the Olympics and been able to play. I think that's where he would be right now instead of being here.
Good guy. A lot of New Yorkers believe should still be wearing pinstripes. Well, he is wearing pinstripes, just not Yankee pinstripes. Those two terrific friends. Pettit, who is right now on the disabled list. Roger Clemens.
I still don't understand how that came about with a club like the New York Yankees and having Andy Pettit being so good in the playoffs for so many years, and yet he's not your top priority when it comes to free agent time. And they basically were doing things and not even talking to him. And to me, that's just total disrespect. And I think that's why he's in a Houston Astro uniform. And who knows? We may see Houston versus the Yankees.
Well, of course, it's coming home for Andy Pettit, too. So that and the money were pretty good reasons for him to come to Houston. Swung on and missed. But I think you're right. It was very strange how that whole situation unraveled between Pettit and the Yankees. And maybe there are people who believe, well, Roger, because he's so close to Pettit, said, well, we're going to stick it to the Yankees even more. I'm going to come out of retirement. I'm going to pitch for Houston, too.
Well, I don't know that that's how Roger looked at it, but knowing that he's got a friend in Andy Pettit and he's got a great ball club here in Houston, and having talked to his boys, because he had always said that he was going to watch at least 1 year of his oldest son's football season and baseball season, and this is it. And he gets to come home and play ball and still be able to see his kids.
Line shot, a base hit into left, a single for Kent, and the bases are going to be loaded up here for Houston. They'll take no chances. Down 12-4. Later tonight, the Major League Baseball doubleheader continues on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern. Giles and the Padres take on Bonds and the Giants. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One on ESPN2. And if you missed it, Bonds is on fire. He has homered in 7 straight games. And one more tonight matches the Major League record for consecutive games with a homer. Dale Long did it in 1956, Don Mattingly in 1987, and Ken Griffey Jr. in 93. And Duncan out to the mound. You were talking about Roger Clemens and his son Kobe, who is pitching for his high school team. He's a junior, along with playing football. And Roger, from time to time, has permission to not be with the team when they're on the road. In fact, he missed their last series in Milwaukee so he could be at home and watch his son play. That was a big reason that he decided to come out of retirement. Braden McClain, I thought, got very creative with that, because when he sat down the offseason, Roger was retired. No hint of him coming back. And Roger said, the only way I'm going to do this is if it's a family decision. Everyone in my household is going to have a say in whether I go back and play baseball again. And one of the boys actually gave him a Houston Astros cap for Christmas. A little added incentive. That's his way of saying yes. Bases loaded. And it's outside for ball on Berkman.
Well, we've got a bases loaded situation with a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. We get a grand slam right here. We may have us a Wago.
Nobody out. Berkman on the night is 0 for 3. Now, he has hit a grand slam from the other side of the plate this season. It was on April 11th against Milwaukee. In the St. Louis bullpen, that is Ray King, the left-hander. He starts to loosen up, but they're all filled up here. Duncan does not look overly pleased with this development. Daniel Tavares has walked 2 and allowed a single. He hits the corner.
Well, this is definitely not the type of ball game that you would like to get away, especially the way the Cardinals came out swinging the bat. This is a sinker that Tavares starts on the middle of the plate and runs right to the outside corner. I don't know that that's a pitch that Berkman wanted anyway.
That's a strike. That looked like it fooled him, and the count 2-2.
Well, the pitch before was away, and this pitch starts right at him and then just drops right over the inside corner. That's the old new high strike zone. Guess it's not new anymore.
The 2-2 to Berkman. Down and in, stopped by Matheny, the Gold Glove catcher, and the count is full.
I think if he walks Berkman right here, somebody's going to be about ready to have a coronary over there in that St. Louis dugout.
The Cardinals have been riding high all night, but now the Astros show some life here in the 8th inning. Got him looking. Berkman hopping away, thinking he had ball 4 and an RBI, comes back to jaw at Andy Fletcher. Here comes Jimmy Williams to try and keep Berkman in the game. That's a strikeout and a big out. Now a double play gets Tavares out of the inning.
I don't know. That ball looked like it was pretty close to the corner. The thing about it is when you see, and at that angle it looks like the ball's off the plate. But when you've got a guy throwing the ball the way that Tavares is with that much movement, it's very difficult to judge. And you can see by the reaction of Lance Berkman, he is not happy with that. He's thinking he's got a walk and got an RBI and ends up going back to sit down with nothing.
Boy, you can't blame Berkman for not swinging at it, but it looked like a great pitch, a pitcher's pitch. Hot shot ground ball that eats up McKay. Down the line. 1 run in. Here comes Vizcaíno. He's in to score. Runners at second and third. 2 runs in. This is starting to get a little bit interesting. It's 12-6. McKay could not make the play. That hot shot handcuffed him at third.
Well, this is a rocket by Ensberg. McKay doesn't quite get over there in front of it. McKay is normally a catcher behind the plate. The ball bounces off his right leg, and you can see Tony, he is not happy.
Out he comes. Another pitching change on the way. It is 12-6 with runners at second and third and only 1 man out.
Dave Reps and Rob Dibble in the Sports Center in-game studio, and the Braves, after the Reds have taken the lead, Dibbs tying it up here.
That's very painful for a closer at home to give up the booty after you just got the lead in the 9th inning. Come right back. Danny Graves gives it up.
So it is 5-5. They've gone to extra innings there. Don't forget, coming up here, Barry Bonds trying to make a little history. You see
Warren Sapp.
Right ahead. Joe Morgan, Warren Sapp, and Barry Bonds. Padres and Giants. Barry looking to homer in his 8th straight. That's next.
That's a pretty serious athletic triumvirate there. Here it is 12-6. St. Louis with a 6-run lead in the bottom of the 8th, but the wheels are turning. Ray King, the lefty, has to be brought in. And the Astros, who scored twice in this inning to close the gap, have runners at second and third. Now his ERA is right in line with the rest of the bullpen, which is at 5.86 coming into tonight. They have bullpen problems. And they're also not going with regulars in this game. Scott Rolen was lifted after a big offensive night, seemingly with the game in hand. And McKay, the new third baseman, was just charged with an error on which 2 runs scored. Was playing Scott Rolen's position. Now Lane, Jason Lane, a terrific young hitter that they're very high on, 2 for 5. Former All-American out of Southern California will step in. And he has some serious pop. A couple of years ago, in the minor leagues, he had a 38 home run season, Jeff, and drove in 124 runs.
Well, if it wasn't for his injuries that he had with his knees, he may be the guy that they're playing in center field, and Biggio may still be at second base.
Inside for a ball.
Because this guy can flat out crush it.
The count 2-0. 1 man out. A base hit here, and it gets curiouser and curiouser for St. Louis in their bullpen. Shot down the right field line. That's going to slice foul.
I was watching him taking batting practice, talking about Jason Lane today. He was hitting the ball over the train tracks in batting practice. Now that's a you just got finished talking about. That's the furthest ball that Reggie Sanders has ever hit. He's hitting them over the wall in batting practice.
Reggie Sanders with a home run early tonight. It got up and onto those train tracks. Bounced to the plate, and Matheny knocked it down. Well, that's the value of a Gold Glover behind the plate right there.
However you hold that pitch, don't hold it like that again.
Using the chest protector to knock it down. 2 times the Gold Glove winner.
They don't get much better than the team behind the plate. Not only his physical skills, but the fact that he can call a great ball game.
Inside for ball 4. The bases are reloaded for Houston. St. Louis, their starters and the bullpen, not pitching well at all coming into this one. 14th in the National League among the starters, 13th among the bullpen guys. And the pen is certainly living up to that.
Problem that you have, Dave, is when you come into the ball game, you've got to throw the ball over the plate. You can have the smartest catcher in the world sitting behind the plate, and he can call the game. But if you don't throw a strike, what good is it?
Ausmus is 2 for 3. Went after the first pitch, and Renteria has it. Flips to Anderson. On to first, a double play to get out of the inning. With the bases loaded, Ausmus hits into the inning ender. It's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One. St. Louis with a 12-6 lead over Houston. And later tonight, our doubleheader continues on ESPN2 at 10. It's Brian Giles and the Padres against Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants. Some of you may see Texas at Anaheim. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Bank One. Bonds trying to homer in 8 consecutive games that would tie the Major League record. He has 9 home runs for the year. Vizcaino will move over to second base. And Lane remains in the ballgame. Jason Lane at first for Houston. They also bring on a new pitcher, the hard-throwing right-hander Octavio Dotel. He's had some issues this year, taking over as the closer for Billy Wagner. You see the 5.06 ERA. He did pick up his first save of the season. That was a week ago at St. Louis, although he did allow 2 home runs in an inning and a third in that one. For JB, there have been some issues. It has not gone as smoothly as the Astros would like.
Well, I don't know that it's going to be a smooth transition for them, especially as well as Brad Lidge has thrown the baseball. But right now, Jimmy Williams knows that he's got to stick. He's got to do whatever he can to try to raise the confidence of this young man, Octavio Dotel, and take a little bit of that pressure off of him and allow him to go out there and throw the ball like he has in the past.
Edgar Renteria hitting .320. A little late on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He has singled twice, coming off a great year in which he batted .330 for the 2003 campaign and won the Gold Glove.
That's a pretty nice year to have right there.
For a shortstop, he has some power, he has speed. Lunges after that one, knocked down by Vizcaino. So it'll be a base hit for Renteria, his 3rd of the game. He's 3 for 5. Well, last season, the Phillies and the Marlins battled for the National League wild card all year. It was a marvelous race. Tomorrow, Jim Thome and the Phillies welcome Miguel Cabrera. If you've not seen him swing the bat, you're in for a treat. As the world champion Marlins visit brand new Citizens Bank. Much here, St. Louis with a big 12-6 lead. All those hits, 16 for St. Louis. Baseball tonight coming your way next. Get updated on everything that happened in baseball tonight. What's going to happen a little later. Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants battling the Padres on ESPN2 at 10 o'clock Eastern. Bonds trying to homer for his 8th consecutive game. So tune in that one. Orlando Palmeiro, the number 9 hitter since about the 7th inning. And then he'll be followed by Craig Biggio and Adam Everett. St. Louis Cardinals, incidentally, trying to close out this game and go to 5-0 on the road for the first time since 1962. The best road start ever, Jeff Brantley tells me, was in 1941 when they got out to a 12-0 start on the road.
But they haven't been playing very well at home at all. Matter of fact, I think it's one of their worst home starts and their best road starts.
Well, tonight they're laying it on the Astros at Minute Maid Park. Dave O'Brien, Jeff Brantley, Gary Miller with him. At home, you're right. They're 3-7. High chop along third, but a foul ball.
The thing that amazes me about this ball game, we knew that there was going to be some fireworks in this game, especially with the 2 lineups that both of these managers, La Russa and Williams, were running out there. But to have 12 runs in a ball game and get yourself in a situation late like we have had in the last inning where you're still worried about the game. And you've got 12 runs.
That's Minute Maid Park, isn't it?
I don't know if it's Minute Maid Park or if it's just crummy pitching.
King with the kick and pitch. A lunging fly to left. Porter backing up, has it. Out number 1. Let's go to the studio. Dave Rebson.
Thank you, Dave. Randy Johnson, 14-1 against Milwaukee since '93. This not going to help Dibbs.
Well, command of that pitch selection in that inning got him into trouble. He got a lot of guys on base. Then he tried to come into Pasednik, and he pulls it down the line to really get Johnson out of the game.
Well, Brewers have broken it open now. It's 8-4. Complete highlights coming up on Baseball Tonight, guys.
Boy, that one unexpected as the unit gets wrapped around a bit. Biggio tonight is 0 for 4. He's grounded out 3 times and also flied out to right field, but hitting .327. You were talking about the dramatic difference in his batting style. And I guess it's dramatic because here's a guy for 17 years who's been hitting the same way with a big leg kick. But a lot of scouts we talked to in spring training commented on the quicker bat of Craig Biggio, even though he's going to be 38 later on this year, but a much quicker bat and fewer moving parts to his swing. That was a big item for him.
Well, that was what he was telling me today. He said, I feel comfortable. He said, the only thing I have to guard against is thinking about not raising my leg. And he said, so I just try to concentrate on what the pitcher's trying to do to me. That way I don't have to worry about whether I'm raising my leg or not. I just stride and hit the ball.
Bounding ball, and it's going to streak through for a base hit through McKay and Renteria. Seeing eye single, first hit of the game for Biggio.
This is the part of the ball game whether you're winning or losing, and you can watch Biggio here. Very little movement, keeps his hands back, but you don't give up at bats. Even though he may be 1 for 5 tonight, that one hit may be the one hit that carries him over the 300 mark.
He's going to be 39 years old in December, actually, and still looks like he's about 18. A dribbler. King fires on low for a great scoop over there by Pujols to get it. A terrific play by Albert Pujols. That's his favorite position. Had been moving around for several seasons, but he's finally secure at first base. It's a nice play.
This is a nice play also by Ray King, getting off the mound and getting that foot planted, getting that ball to first base in a hurry because Adam Everett is motoring down the first baseline.
So 2 men out. Pujols all grins this evening. At the bat, well, he started things with a double in the first inning. Wound up going 1 for 4. Vizcaíno looks at a strike. 12-6 St. Louis. They got 3 right away in the opening inning.
It was all downhill from there.
Downhill from there. Ray Lankford with a homer. Scott Rolen with a 2-run homer in the first inning. Marlon Anderson also hit one out. Reggie Sanders hit a 3-run homer. And Jim Edmonds hit a grand slam in the 6th. Baseball Tonight coming up as soon as we finish up in Houston. Fouled away at the plate. I'll tell you what, St. Louis is putting some revenge on the Houston Astros after what the Astros did to them last week.
The Astros tore them up. They swept them in St. Louis, and I can't remember the last time that the Cardinals were swept at home by any Central Division foe. And they came here with a little, like you said, a little vengeance or revenge on their minds. They've still got one more to go.
A win tonight. They win the first 2 games of this series. They were outscored 26-9 by the Astros at Busch Stadium. It seems the Cardinals love this place. And that's in there for a strike. That ends the ball game. King striking out the final hitter, Vizcaíno. So a walk-away win for La Russa and the Cardinals. They win it by a final score of 12-6, out hitting the Astros 16-8. Coming up next, it's Baseball Tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. And tonight, from the home of the 2004 All-Star Game, this one is in the books. A final score, St. Louis 12 and Houston 6.